We're on the third stop of the 2025 National STOL Circuit. This weekend, we continue our migration westward from Missouri to the juncture of the Snake and the Malheur Rivers. Welcome to Ontario, Oregon, where our pilots have gathered to celebrate aviation at the gateway to the Backcountry. It's time for Oregon Trail STOL. Pilots and aircraft alike will have to fight the effects of the high desert heat here at Ontario Municipal Airport, maybe under the wing of an F-4 Phantom. The backcountry pilots of Idaho and Oregon, Milloway, Dory, Bushman, and Whiteley mark their return to the series in the wilderness, sport, and adventure classes. John Jughead Council promises to put on yet another clinic in his 170 Bravo, and in the unlimited class, we're set for a rare and legendary showdown with Hal Stockman, Dan Reynolds, and Steve Henry, all in the air at the same time, while relative newcomer Jared Garetson looks to continue his 2025 domination. Congratulations! You've made it to Oregon. It's gonna be a hot one. The line is painted. We're cleared for takeoff. Let's get those engines started. National STOL's Oregon Trail STOL starts right now. And what is up, Av Geeks and STOL Freaks? Welcome to Oregon Trail STOL here in Ontario, Oregon. Things are heating up today, including the temperature. It's going to be a great day for flying. My name's Ryan Dombrowski.
I'm Cam Walton.
And we're going to bring all of the great STOL action to you, both here in Ontario, Oregon, and also at home. And if you're in the crowd here in Ontario, I hope you're strapping in for a great time. Stay hydrated. It's going to be hot today. Up to 99 degrees Fahrenheit.
Jeez, that's super hot.
It's going to be super hot. We're going to see some super hot flying, too. If you're following along at home or in the crowd, look up Kilo Oscar November Oscar Kono. Or Kono on your sectional chart.
I'm
you
doing
can
it
go
now.
see where we're at. We're going to be operating on runway 1533 today. This beautiful turf runway. You see the first class of competitors out there starting to taxi on that beautiful grass. This airport's actually also the home of the Fighting Classics Air Museum and Cam. We haven't seen much this spring, but when we were here in the fall last year, tons of firefighting operation happening out of this airport, protecting the local communities.
Nice. Some fire boss action.
See all the seats taken off. We are getting ready for our first class right away. It's going to be the Backcountry and the Wilderness class. And Cam and I will talk a little bit more about what these classes mean. But before we get too far in, I think there's a very important thing we have to do.
Oh, yes. Have to give homage.
So let's, everyone, if you could please rise, remove your hats. Time for our national anthem. And we are back here in Ontario. You can see the crowd starting to come in for today's competition here at Ontario Municipal Airport. Folks, there's a couple of things we got to talk about today before we get started. One is you can change the effect of the competition yourself as a fan, either at home or here in Ontario. You can go to nationalstol.com/vote. That's nationalstol.com/vote. Voting closes today at the close of competition. So it's after the end of the unlimited class. As soon as that last landing happens, polls close. Pilots actually can get some rewards, some prizes, some accolades for the folks with the most votes. So nationalstol.com/vote. The other thing, Cam, we're being simulcast right now on Live Air Show TV.
Ooh, I'm live twice?
You're live times 2.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, right. So our friends at Live Air Show TV are going to be bringing this to their audience as well. Big thanks to that partnership. The other thing that we need to say thank you to, and we had, did you stop in for breakfast at the EAA hangar today?
Yeah, it was good.
It was delicious. Local EAA chapter 837. Big thank you to them, as well as the backcountry pilot community of Idaho and Eastern Oregon. These folks were all instrumental in bringing Oregon Trail STOL back for a second year in a row. We're so grateful that they are helping us bring this to you today. So you're going to see a lot of those pilots competing today. Now, you might be asking yourself, how does this work?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
What is this crazy national STOL thing? Let's teach you about that right now.
All right.
Garetson.
Takeoff and landing competitions are simple. We have the pilots here competing in separate classes to get the lowest score possible. As you see behind me, we have the start-finish line, so let's start with the takeoff.
This runway is marked with a start-finish line, and as a competitor parks their main gear on the line, they apply power and position their aircraft to get off the ground as soon as possible. Once their main gear leaves the ground, a line judge will mark their takeoff score using the measuring line along the side. This score will be added to the pilot's landing score on this heat. The landing is in 2 parts. It's either over the line and counted, or if the pilot's main gear touches down before the line, or even touches the line, this heat score is scratched and results on a landing disqualification, and the pilot will have to rely on another takeoff and landing score to get them on the podium. A quick look at our aircraft shows we have 2 types of landing gear, tricycle and tail draggers. On the tail dragger aircraft, the score is marked from the 2 main wheels toward the front of the airplane. And for tricycle landing gear, the score is marked by the 2 main gear in the rear of the aircraft. It's a fierce competition out here, but at the end of the day, it's all about building better and safer pilots in the skies.
It's a great day for STOL competitions. Let's get it started.
So the touring class, it used to be just touring airplanes, and now that we've switched around the classes because the 170Bs would always win, so they ended up putting us in the Bush class, which it's a touring airplane, and the word has it Austin Clemens isn't coming because the Super 170's in his class.
Tough battle, but Husky will win at the end of the day.
A little backstory here. I've been struggling. I used to be super consistent.
I think that little 4 or 5 knot crosswind just threw them off. They couldn't handle it.
So last night, Micah was inhaling helium, which obviously lightens the load.
So I went from the top to fighting for upper percentile.
Let me tell you something, Reese. We're out here today with some of these fine airplanes flying, but there's one that was on fire today because I had a front row seat and I watched all 3 of those pilots fly. Sean Johnson was on fire today. He was flying his best game, and he got to bring his best game because he's flying against Michael Lindstrom and Jeff Pohl, 2 of the best pilots in the lower 48. Let me tell you, brother, they're awesome out here today with this beautiful weather. It's so good to be out here.
Well, I did a pull test on my airplane. I was only pulling 745 pounds, and so I had them deburr the cylinders, and now I'm pulling 815 pounds of thrust.
And we're back in Ontario, Oregon, Ontario Trail STOL, National STOL. It's warm. It's not super hot right now. In fact, the winds are variable at 4 knots, clear below 12,000. Temperature is currently 70 degrees, and the altimeter is 3006 as we get ready for the backcountry class. Right now we've got number 11 Jughead Council, John Jughead Council in the 1955 Cessna 170B from Snohomish, Washington. Number 22 Sean Coleman in the 1990 Taylorcraft F-22 from Ontario, Oregon. And while we're here, we'll go ahead and do wilderness. We've got 122 Jeff Whiteley in the 1958 Cessna 175 from Jefferson, Oregon, and number 77 Kyle Bushman in the 1958 experimental from Wyoming.
So what you're going to see today, folks, in these first two classes, the backcountry class and the wilderness class, and then the touring class, we've got two competitors. You just heard their names. They're Kyle Bushman and Jeff Whiteley. They're going to be using the same aircraft. So they're going to be straddling two classes to get their time in. And then we'll crown the winner of that at the end of the touring class. So kicking things off first with the backcountry class. You heard a little bit about the competition there. It is typically dominated by aircraft that you see John Jughead Council flying. And we're going to get them introduced to you here in just a second. See that first airplane coming up. Beautiful big white airplane there taxiing up right now. Everybody, it's time to introduce you race number 122. It's a 1958 experimental Cessna 175 from Jefferson, Oregon. Give it up for Jeff Whiteley.
Jeff Whiteley joined the U.S. Air Force at 19 as an aircraft armament specialist, a bomb loader, working on the B-1B bomber and F-16 fighter. He started skydiving in his late 20s and transitioned to flying at age 38.
So this airplane and this pilot, man, bad to the bone. And what's going to be cool is you're going to see another pilot fly that same airplane with the next class. Next up, in a 1955 Cessna 170 Bravo, it's race number 115 from Snohomish, Washington. Give it up for John Jughead Council.
Jughead is a retired Air Force fighter instructor and civilian pilot. He flew F-15Cs. Has an experience in over 70 types of aircraft, gliders, helicopters, and in skydiving.
The other thing you'll see, and I think Dakota's around here somewhere. His
Dakota's
co-pilot dog literally is his co-pilot.
Yes. You'll hear Dakota barking here during the broadcast here.
And now we need a very warm welcome for this pilot. Race number 220 from Ontario, Oregon. In 1990, Taylorcraft F-22. Give it up for Sean Coleman.
Sean Coleman's aircraft was the factory demonstrator for the F-22 series built in the late 80s and 90s. It's the first Taylorcraft to have flaps and 42 gallons of fuel.
And a big change from last year. So Sean he and his family hosted this amazing dinner for all of us up at their ranch. Pilots came and landed at their ranch.
Yep.
It was amazing.
We had burgers. It was a good time.
He pulled me aside while he was making the burgers. He said, "Did you notice that this time around my airplane has brakes?" It's kind of a big difference. It's a big difference. He didn't have brakes last time. Because old aircraft, folks, a lot of these old airplanes, you didn't really need them necessarily, right? You might have like spongy heel brakes or something, like if you're flying a J3 or the F-22. He's got like legit real brakes now, double pucks. That's awesome. That is really great. We're going to see him compete. You've got 3 different airplanes flying in this heat for you right now. We've got a green flag. Jeff Whiteley at the line. And remember, everything starts and finishes at this race line. So Jeff Whiteley's going to power that airplane up. He's going to take off as short as possible. Tail coming up grabbing a little bit of that crosswind, throwing some mud off those wheels. Yanking back, and she is airborne. A good first showing for Jeff Whiteley.
Yeah, it's going to be sub 300 feet. Judges are looking like somewhere around 290, 280.
They were wetting down the turf cam before and now you can see all the mud on the. I know that there's mud from the taxiway on those bush wheels, but I think we've got some from the runway as well.
Jughead Council on the takeoff roll. The tail slowly coming up.
He's got to keep it off. Whoa, we had a little bit of settling from Jughead there. Airplane needed to build up a little more speed. That's okay, right? That's a short takeoff and landing technique. You get it kind of wrenched off into the air and hold it off just above the ground while you build speed. We can't settle back down, though, because if you do, we're going to take the measurement from the second time your wheels leave the ground. Here's Sean Coleman now.
And this is special. This F-22 is, like you said, it's the first factory demonstrator for the F-22. Normal tailorcraft will not have flaps, and will only have a header tank. And he's off just a little past 300 feet.
So the challenges today as they go around the pattern, right? The challenges today, folks, one, it is going to get hot. It's already getting hot. The hotter it gets, the harder the airplane has in terms of flying. The airplane's got to work harder if it's hotter. You can see Jeff Whiteley now turning base to final for the first landing of Oregon Trail STOL 2025. The other thing that we've got going against us right now, and the pilots are all hoping for more, is winds, right? We've got a little bit of wind coming down the runway. Most of it's coming from the right from the pilot's perspective. They would love that wind to be more and more straight down the runway. The more wind they can get, the shorter those numbers are going to be. It's particularly of note with aircraft of this size, right? Look how big these airplanes are. Jeff Whiteley now, short final, holding it off, and a little early for Jeff Whiteley. So that's our first scratch of the competition. What that means, folks, is if you land before that line, imagine we're landing on a sandbar to go fly fishing or something like that.
Yep.
You just landed in the river. You didn't land on the sandbar. So that run, that entire run doesn't count. The takeoff distance for Jeff Whiteley there was 285. That's nice and short for these conditions. He doesn't get credit for it now. It's like he's starting fresh. Here comes Jughead now in the backcountry class in that 170 Bravo.
You hear him nursing the throttle.
Looked good over the line to me. Now he's got to get it stopped. Nice and short for Jughead there.
I like
Let's watch the replay here.
Nice over the line.
Like an inch or two over the line, that's all you need. Very accurate first showing for Jughead there. He's got a lot of time in precision flying, right? He flies for the airlines, flew fighters. He is nothing if not precise.
187 feet on that landing for a combined total of 492 feet for that run for John Jughead Council.
Sean Coleman giving a little bit of a slip coming in. He's got a lot of energy to dissipate. Going to land well short of the line there. Working that rudder, keeping her straight. So that's going to be a scratch for him as well. You saw him apply that power to keep it off the ground, right? Every time you do that, you got a little more energy to dissipate. Unless you're in that kind of like high alpha regime where the nose is really high and you're using the throttle to keep you in the air. So that's going to be the first run for the backcountry and the wilderness class here at Oregon Trail STOL. So far, John Jughead Council, the only one on the board with a combined score of 492 in the backcountry class.
Yeah, I'm digging that shot from White Squirrel Aerial Media. Our own CW providing the drone footage for us today.
Super cool. Can't have a STOL comp without a drone shooting footage.
Yeah.
So these classes, this backcountry class, that your Jughead and Sean are competing in right now. These are more or less airplanes determined by a gross weight of 1,321 to 2,300 pounds. There's a little bit of shaking up that happens due to what is competitive within the classes. This wilderness class that Jeff Whiteley's competing in is new this year, and it's basically just the experimental heavies.
Yeah.
So what was happening in previous seasons, we'd have folks like Jeff Whiteley. Kyle Bushman's going to be flying his plane, but Kyle Bushman had the Backcountry Boss last year. Just totally non-competitive for the certificated airplanes because so many modifications are allowed. So we created a new class for them with the advice of the Pilot Advisory Committee. So these are the experimental heavies. So this airplane on the line right now is experimental. It's been modified in a lot of ways. Here he is on the roll, giving it the juice, tongue hanging out. I saw it leave sub 300. Judges are pointing
a little bit past 300 is what they're saying.
Now, I see Kyle Bushman out there judging Jeff Whiteley. Is that fair?
No,
that's not fair.
Buddies. Well, actually, he's got a blue.
He's got a blue vest on.
Yeah, so he's doing camera footage, right?
Helping confirm the numbers. John Jughead Council on the line. Wind currently 1 knot, 1 measly knot of wind for him to work with.
You see that tail slowly coming up. Judges walking down just a little bit past 325. This parallax is getting me because that looked like he took off a little bit earlier than 325.
Yeah, Cam, what you're talking about there with parallax is for us in the booth, we're kind of off on an angle.
Yes.
Or you in the crowd, you might be looking at the runway from an angle. And so it's hard to tell exactly where the airplane leaves the ground when you're viewing the runway from an angle. Here's Sean Coleman. Full power in the F-22, the Raptor. I wasn't sure what he was going to say about that when I talked to him last night. I was like, oh, do you like me calling it the Raptor? He's like, yeah, man, F-22's got to stick together. A little bit different, not as stealthy.
But you did ask yesterday what his radar cross-section might be. It might be similar. I mean,
it's similar.
It's fabric, so I mean, like, it's not really going to reflect a whole bunch.
So Jeff Whiteley's turning final right now. I want to say hi to a couple folks in the social chat. And if you want to join us, folks, in the crowd, you can ask us questions in the chat. Just go to nationalstol.com, go to Facebook, YouTube, wherever you find your social stuff. You can see the broadcast happening live. Jerry Clemens in the chat would be one of Jughead's competitors.
Yes.
Saying, go Jughead. Russ Keith from Airplanes and Coffees in the house. Hi to Russ Keith.
Paul from Everything Life-Saving in the house as well.
Here comes Jeff Whiteley.
Paul and Freya.
Diving it over the line.
Woo!
Giving those wheels the jiggle.
I mean, they were definitely jiggling.
They were definitely jiggling. Those big fat tires are jiggling. You can't call me. You can kind of call me on that. All right, so let's see. Look at that replay. He dropped it in. This is not, we say it every time, folks, but if you're new here, it is not about passenger comfort. It is about getting it down and stopped. Jughead now, look at him, just stabilized. Absolutely stable on approach there.
Yeah, with this 1 to 5 knots happening right now, you can see his glide slope is excellent. He's going to round it out, burst of power, right over the line. You can see his wheels locked up. And he's going to be just past 250 feet, and it's looking like somewhere around 259, 260.
So that's going to conclude the second run for Jughead.
261 on that landing, combined total 601 for that run for John Jughead Council.
So his first run considerably better for Jughead. Sean Coleman now coming in on final.
in this special Taylor craft with flaps and huge fuel tanks.
I mean, and he works it. Like, he flies it from his house. He flew it from his home.
Yeah.
He walked out to the backyard and flew it here. Here he is now, short final, settling in. Oh, he's going to...
Oh,
too short.
another scratch.
Because he's going to try to save it with power. No go. Kind of sliding over to the right side of the airfield there. Stopped short, though.
Yeah.
If he could get it just a few feet over the line, he'd be stopping 250. That'd be giving Jughead a run for his money on the landings.
It really would be.
Like, they're close. That would have been 242 if it hadn't been a scratch. So still not on the board for Sean Coleman. He's got one try left. Jughead holding first place in his class with 492 feet. Jeff Whiteley on the board now with 513. He's got to get one more good, solid number in to defend against Kyle Buschmann when he hands the keys over.
Yeah.
And I was going to make a joke about how they, are competing against each other in the same plane, but it's important to mention that Kyle Buschmann very instrumental in building this aircraft with Jeff Whiteley, so he's got a little more skin in the game. Well, they're getting ready to come around for the next bit of competition. Want to remind everyone, go visit the merch booth here, the National STOL merch booth. Lots of cool. There's like new season shirts that literally were just delivered, I think.
Yes.
Today, unveiled today. You can check those out. We also have a lot of great food vendors here to serve you in Ontario, Oregon. If you want to check out merch online, nationalstol.com. Jeff Whiteley now taxiing up. We got a little bit more wind from his right. You can see he's cheating to the left. Can't go further than the hash marks on the runway. So you can grab a little bit of that crosswind. Here comes the tail. Settling it back down. Building speed. And yanking it back a little early. So if you would have timed that just... It's easy for us to say in the booth, too. I want to say we recognize that. If we would have hung on just a little bit longer before yanking back on the stick, he would have been able to take off slightly shorter.
Yeah. Yanking back, deploying the flaps, like that whole song and dance. Could have waited just a little bit longer. But like you said, it's easy for us to say that in the booth.
Here comes John Council. Dropping the flaps, yanking back. And maybe a tiny bit earlier for him, too.
Yeah, no, the judges are pointing at a little bit past 300 feet, but his wheels were up before 300 feet. And it looks like Kyle Buschmann is using the cameras to help with that score. Sean Coleman on the run in the F-22. Tail coming up. He's going to pull back a little early as well.
And particularly with his aircraft that has less power than the others.
Yeah, we're going to look at the replay for Jughead. And can't really see from that angle.
Question is, did he... Yeah, it looks like he settled down and retouched theirs with the race controls mentioning. So he may have a much further distance on that takeoff, because it again is from where you touch down and depart last.
Yes.
Okay, so the other thing we got to talk about, Cam, is we're going to be all over the country this year.
Ooh, yes.
And so in a few weeks, June 20th to 21st, we're going to be at the Moses Lake Air Show as part of that air show. And kind of a cool thing for Cam and I, we're going to be announcing the whole air show.
Yeah, that's really going to be
awesome. We're going to be talking airplanes, flippy-floppy airplanes, STOL airplanes, RC airplanes, military airplanes. We're talking about all that stuff. After that, National STOL comes to Hartford, Wisconsin, July 18th and 19th for Sodbusters. And then in August 15th and 16th up at Rocky Mountain STOL, Pinedale, Wyoming. Okay, here comes Jeff Whiteley, hanging it out a bit, diving down. Oh, stretching those gear wide.
Yeah.
He is working it.
We're jiggling and flopping and doing everything.
Yeah, we are working those gear. Wow. Not afraid. The beast. Look at him hang it all out there, and now he's lost the lift. He puts the nose down, dives on a little bit of that energy going down through the ground. Heavy on the braking here in the replay. Keeping that tail down. He's just sliding on the turf there. That slippery, wet turf.
Yeah.
Jughead now on the left.
You can see his flaps deployed, or as Corey would say, those barn doors deployed. And you can see him gently nursing, giving it a little power, getting over the line. Great.
Right over the line. That was textbook.
Yes.
We talk about Jughead as like always putting on a clinic.
Yeah.
Literally, Moses Lake last year, he was showing us all the different ways that he approaches a backcountry landing, because he uses this airplane for backcountry flying. It's not just competition. He is all over the place exploring with his dog, Dakota.
Yep, who's right here near the booth with us. It's really funny because I watched him at Sun and Fun, like, give a clinic.
Like a literal clinic.
And now he's giving that was the academic side. Now we're at the practical side of the clinic.
Sean Coleman in the F-22 Raptor. Tailorcraft coming in. Here we go. Good over the line now. He's going to give it some distance to get one on the board. Holding it straight, keeping her straight, getting on those brakes. And I think he's going to be happy with that one as a third and final landing in his class. Folks, while we get ready to talk about the winners of this class, I want to talk about our friends at Legendary Aviation Coffee Company. There were aviation passion flirts shamelessly with the seduction of coffee roasting. Premier air-roasted small batch, single origin, specialty grade, direct trade with a promise of never bitter, always better, bougie coffee. You can check it out. They've been caffeinating us all season long.
Yes, they
Coupon
have.
code STOL10 for 10% off your order. That's STOL10 for 10% off your order. That supports National Stol and a great business, great aviation business. So we're going to take a quick break as the airplanes taxi through the dust.
Oh, my goodness.
And we'll be back right after this. Special thanks to our annual sponsors: Legend Aircraft, Clemens Insurance, Behringer Aero, Sarasota Avionics, Lift Aviation USA, Flying Eyes Optics, Red Tag Art, Legendary Aviation Coffee Company, iFly EFB by Adventure Pilot, Tundra Tailwheel, Fly Orca.
Looking for a more affordable entry into bush plane flying? How about paramotoring, aka the dirt bike of the sky? Paramotoring STOL is the next best thing, and this adventure motor that you wear on your back is your ticket to getting airborne quick. At Aviator Paramotor, our 2-week training takes you from zero to hero.
Sunrise this morning, it was beautiful. There was a thin layer of fog flying. It's just like all the stress and all that kind of just floats away. It's really peaceful.
From no experience to feeling confident and competent flying on your own. Let the team at Aviator Paramotor in Lake Wales, Florida teach you your new superpower of running into the sky. Classes are filling up quick, but there are spots available today, so call now. Side effects include, but not limited to, significant life changes, foot drags, ear-to-ear smiles. Find the extreme freedoms of ripping around the skies in your new adventure motor with friends.
Check, check. And welcome back, folks. And welcome back, folks, to Oregon Trail STOL. One thing about our shirts, by the way, did you know that this is the birthplace of the tater tot? Pretty crazy, right? It is time to talk about our backcountry class. No, everyone in the crowd is just like, yeah, tater tots, we'll make them here. All right, thanks, Jughead. We love tater tots. Get in here, boys. All right, here's the backcountry class for Oregon Trail STOL 2025. In second place with a combined score of 909 feet. Everyone give it up for Sean Coleman. Up and up there, sir. Over here. And then with a combined score of 492 feet, give it up for John Jughead Council. Up and up here, boys. All right. Ooh. Come here. Come on. Gotcha. Nice work. I want to point out, where's your wife? He's got like an airplane and a giant head for Sean Coleman. All right. Is that your new airplane? There we go. Congratulations, gentlemen. Jughead, I want to talk a little bit about what it was like flying out there today.
Well, it was a little nicer air than yesterday, a little more stable. It's not as warm as I thought it was going to be. The grounds were great, and I love coming to this crowd. Ontario has always been so wonderful. Camped out last night. It was so enjoyable. No mosquitoes this year as well, less dust. Dakota's excited about our championship bag of tater tots to take home because he loves to have those for breakfast as well. So big thanks for everybody, National STOL, all the sponsors out there, and we appreciate everybody coming.
All right, folks, give it up for the backcountry class, Oregon Trail STOL 2025.
Don't spray the camera.
Don't spray the camera, she says. We'll be back with more flying right after this. And what an exciting backcountry class that was to kick off Oregon Trail STOL. What a wonderful time. You saw that Jughead was talking. He had a great time out there, and so great to have everyone pumped up about all of the I guess I'm just excited about tater tots. You guys, it's your normal daily thing. Maybe whatever. Cam, any thoughts about the backcountry class there as we move on to the wilderness and touring classes?
I was just super excited to see John Jughead Council do his thing. You know, that's the first time this season that he's going to be flying with us. We're going to see him at Moses Lake as well. So, yeah. Just glad to see him. Glad to see Dakota excited to be out on the field at the podium. So yeah, looks like we've got the touring class coming up next, and we're going to introduce that with a nice video.
Jeff Abrams from Ocala, Florida. Fly an aircraft called Piperzilla, 1965 Cherokee 180. Just enjoy it. It's a great experience. Something different to do with the airplane versus just fly around the traffic pattern or go to nearby restaurants or whatever in the airplane, and gets me far away from home.
My name's Warren Grobelar. I'm from Naples, Florida, and I fly a 1955 Cessna 180. Action!
It's a 1990 PZL 10480. It's a Wilga. It was designed as a STOL airplane, but you know, it had a lot of different uses. They dropped parachuters, and they've seen them with floats on them, and I think they tried to put rockets on them at one point. They're a pretty useful airplane. They didn't take off real big over here in the United States, but you know, it's too bad because they're a pretty neat airplane.
Hello, I'm Brandon Korn. I'm flying the Cessna 205 out of Hearne, Texas. And I'm in the heavy touring class. There's some tough competition out here.
I got no expectations of winning anything here. Just trying to have some fun and kind of get my feet wet.
Well, it felt good. It's definitely a lot different flying in this high altitude, but I like it. You got to really nurse it off the runway, though. Got some competition out here. Aaron over there, flying all over the country. So we're having lots of fun.
And we're back in Ontario, Oregon at Oregon Trail STOL, National STOL. We've got the touring class coming up next. I'm excited because we've got one of our longtime competitors who's hadn't been around for a little bit, but now he is here. Here we go, number 45, Andrew Patry in a 1959 Cessna 182 Bravo from Ellensburg, Washington. It's affectionately named Bumblebee. Race number 307 from Pinedale, Wyoming, John Douglas in the 1964 Cessna 182. And race number 345, Derek Holman in the 1991 Maul MX-7-180.
And then next up here in front of you, you saw Kyle Bushman. That's race number 77 from Pleasant Hill, Oregon. Kyle Bushman there in the 1958 experimental Cessna 175. Get up for Kyle in that white airplane taxiing by you right now.
Kyle Bushman is a master mechanic. He's an AMPIA. He owns a small aircraft restoration and modification shop called Ragwood Refactory.
Next up, race number 175 from Ellensburg, Washington. It's a 1959 Cessna 182 Bravo. Give it up for Andrew Patry.
Andrew is married to Catherine and a proud dad to Sarah, 14, Joseph, 8.
And yeah, it's great to see Andrew back on the circuit.
Yep.
He gave me my first national STOL ride.
Oh.
I think my first drive was in a 182, like his 182. Next up, everyone, from Pinedale, Wyoming, it's number 307, a 1964 Cessna 182. Give it up for John Douglas.
John hosts the Rocky Mountain STOL competition, and it's a dream come true for him and his wife, Angela. He's a proud Pinedale, Wyoming native with an amazing and supportive wife, Miss Angela.
You can see Angela out there. She's got we got a lot of detached heads in the crowd right now. Even Sean Coleman had a giant head on his wife flopping that around, and here's Angela Douglas with the same thing. I love it. We got so much passion in the crowd right now. And last, but certainly not least, from Cresswell, Oregon, it's race number 45. It's a 1991 Mall MXT7 180. Give it up for Rick Holman. And this aircraft, Cam, 180 horsepower, 2,500 pound gross weight, got the MT prop on the front, and really exciting, you're going to see it fly again in the rookie class a little bit later.
Yes, with his son Rick, I believe that's going to
Well, this is Rick.
Oh, this is Rick, so,
His
okay.
son Derek.
Derek, all right, we got the wrong name on the graphic. I think Derek just walked up and gave us some stickers and gave us a little
skeleton?
Yeah, a little flying guy right here.
Little flying guy here.
We're going to get a name for him.
Check this out. On the, get a little, we put him on your shoulder?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if it'll
is
say
he like
I'll hold it.
Is he like a parrot
I'll
now?
hold it up there. Anyway, that's super important. So again, here's what's very exciting is you've got Kyle Bushman now in the front there, in the Beast, competing against Jeff Whiteley, who just flew. So they're using the same airplane. They're in that wilderness class, that heavy experimental class, for lack of a better way to describe it. These airplanes used to compete with all the airplanes behind it. 505 is the combined score to beat for Kyle Bushman. He's on the roll. Yank it back. Oh, that was a clean one.
Yeah. Sub 275. Or correction, sub 290 on that takeoff. The judges are conferring to confirm that score for Kyle Bushman. Andrew Patry on the line, on the go. You might notice that tail skid in the back. He's going to use it. And he's lifted off. Judges are saying somewhere around 240. So, yeah, check out that tail skid on his next takeoff. He's going to put it to good use this whole competition. John Douglas on the line right now. We're watching his family give him support. Angela's recording a video right now.
Got to get that for that debrief. Everyone always wants to know exactly what they can do better. Full power for John Douglas.
And he deploys some flaps and pulling back on the elevator.
Settled back down a little bit there, maybe.
It's going to be interesting to see him and Andrew's numbers compared to each other.
Back to back here.
Yeah.
So look at this. Well, the mall gets ready to go. Just a little update for folks. Kyle Bushman and Jeff Whiteley both tied on takeoff distances as their shortest takeoff distances. So that's going to be one to watch. Back over to touring. Here's Rick Holman in that mall.
Go back on the stick. He's going to give them a run for their money.
You got to really work hard when you've got so little wind, right? And look, and you asked about the scores. Andrew Patry's takeoff was 239 feet. John Douglas, 450. I think he did settle down back on the runway. 274 for Rick Holman. So it is going to be a shooting match in touring class. Back in wilderness class now, the experimental heavies. Kyle Bushman coming around the bend. He's on short final now in that aircraft that he helped Jeff Whiteley build. And there's some stakes here. We're going to talk about this in a minute, but in addition to squirt guns and trophies, things have elevated a little bit for these two. Okay, here he is settling down. Tail was touching. Oh, a little short. A lot of short, actually. The tail wheel can touch before the line. No problems there, but you got to keep those mains off. That's harder to do in an airplane this heavy. You can see it happen in sport class a lot. So just like Jeff Whiteley scratched on his first run, Kyle Bushman also gives up that great takeoff distance to a scratch.
Yep. We'll see what he does on this next takeoff. As we have Andrew Patry on final in Bumblebee.
And it's so good to see him back on the circuit. Look at him settling it out there, nice and stable. Nose is coming up. He's got it pretty dialed in. Let's see where he comes in the line. Little burst of power.
Yeah, looks like he's hitting a little hot air, a little burbles. Woo!
And he's working that reverse pitch propeller, I think.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that he had
that's
that.
a new addition for him since we've seen him last.
He might have had it at Swamp a few years ago, but I can't remember. It's been a while.
If that wasn't a sales pitch for Cessna spring gear, I don't know what was.
And it's going to be good to have, like I said earlier, those numbers compared to John Douglas, because usually we would have Andrew and Aaron Greer head to head.
And I've been corrected. They're titanium gear.
Ooh.
So that's
okay.
More better. Here comes John Douglas. Oh, blue
flag. We got both flags.
Maybe he doesn't know. Blue flag of disappointment, maybe? We'll have to go back to the replay for John Douglas on that one.
Yeah, that's a split.
Rick Holman, turn around the bend to your left as we watch this replay here. Hard to tell. I'm going to call that a scratch. We'll see what the judges think.
Yeah, that's really hard to tell because I don't see. Okay.
Yep, scratch from the judges there. So we're scratching it up. Full double scratches in wilderness class. Let's go over to touring. Andrew Patry's on the board with a combined score of 546. John Douglas with the scratch. Rick Holman now in that ball, settling down into the pocket. Little burst of power to get over the line. He gave up about a plane length. Heavy on the brakes and the elevator. The elevator is that control surface on the back of the airplane that, you guessed it, elevates you. You pull back on the stick or the yoke and you go up. And if you push forward, you go down. It controls the pitch in the landing configuration. In a tricycle gear especially, on a soft field, you want that yoke full back in the case of the Maul. It's going to keep the weight off that nose wheel to protect it a little bit if you had a hard surface, a complicated surface you're landing on, maybe a badger hole out there.
Yep.
The other thing it'll do is it provides aerodynamic braking, right? You've got this big surface up in the wind helping you slow down while it's still effective. They're going to taxi by you again, folks. They can hear you in the cockpit. Make sure you give them a hoot and a holler here in Oregon. And while they're coming back around, I want to talk about one of our sponsors. We got to talk about our friends at FlyingEyes.com. Flying Eyes, great glasses for pilots.
Yeah.
It's great stuff. You can get 10% off your order if you use coupon code National STOL. I got mine on. Cam's got his on. Ours got magnetic. We got magnetic glasses. It's very exciting for me. It feels super cool or super lame. It depends who I'm showing them to. If pilots really like them, they're really cool. Flying Eyes, thank you for your support. Here's Jeff Whiteley now on the line. Okay. We'll go to Ashton Brennan after the line.
Jeff Whiteley on the line, giving it full power. Sorry, not Jeff Whiteley, but Kyle Bushman. Tail coming up. Now we've got Andrew Patry pulling up to the line.
We've got a pay-per-view after this, and then we'll bring him in on the next run. Okay. You want me in or out? We can hang here. I don't know. But you want to come into the booth? You want to get a little AC? Sure. Just grab that.
He's going to give it full power. And we'll see that tail skid get full usage as he's pulling back.
There we go.
Yeah, the top of the door I think's locked.
Yeah, you got to come through the other side.
You see John Douglas on the line with his flaps down. Waiting on Andrew Patry to turn crosswind, and here we go with John Douglas. See him pulling back on the stick.
Oh, that was decisive.
Yes.
Well done, John Douglas.
John, they are saying for John right now, at least the judges, somewhere under 325. Looks like 320. We'll see. 323 on that takeoff.
So a little bit of distance to catch up to Andrew Patry there. His first takeoff again was 220, or his second, sorry, this takeoff. This takeoff was just 226, 323 for John Douglas. Rick Holman now pouring on the coals, mauling the air, if you will. Stick full. Yoke fullback. Here he goes. Ooh, just hanging it off the grass there.
Yeah. They're saying somewhere around 275.
All right, now let's go back over to the pits. We've got Sean Coleman with Ash and Brennan.
I'm Ash, and I'm here with Sean Coleman from our backcountry class down in the pit today at Ontario. Sean, how was that run feeling today?
Oh, it had its moments. A little bit rough. Lost the line in the first go, and the second go I just barely scratched. But better than yesterday. Thermals are just kind of lifting up and down, so just better than yesterday, but all in all, pretty good.
Perfect. So we're seeing a little bit of bounce today. We'll be curious how that does for the rest of our competitors. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, Ash Krieger. You can find her online at @ThatOnePilotChick on Instagram, other socials. Here comes Kyle Bushman now in the beast, holding it off. Oh,
no.
Blue flag. And now, Cam and I have a special guest in the booth. We've got John Jughead Counsel himself joining us here. You just heard Sean Coleman's little bit of rundown of what it is. We've got Andrew Patry base to final right now. What's your quick assessment? Did you agree with conditions out there?
I didn't get to hear what Sean said. I didn't get to hear what Sean said, guys, but it definitely is better than yesterday. We still don't really have any wind, but what we had yesterday was always variable. One pass would have a headwind component, one pass would have a tailwind component, one pass would have nothing. And the grounds seemed to be, they did some work overnight on the runway condition that definitely made a difference.
Andrew Patry right on the line there.
Oh,
It looks
yeah,
like
slamming it down. Putting those titanium gear to use.
Woo, 275 for the Bumblebee. Let's see if it sticks with the landing. Or were they going all the way to the video for this one, I think, aren't they, Ryan?
Very close, going frame by frame.
That looks good to me.
Yeah.
Call good. There
All
we go.
right.
Andrew
Nice.
Patry's going to be happy with that one. Pretty big improvement for him on that second run then, down to 503 feet combined. John Douglas, to your left.
Oh, and the scratch for John Douglas.
You heard the burst of power out of that big bore Continental, and that told the entire story. He was coming up short. He threw a little bit of burst of horsepower in. It wasn't enough to save that scratch.
This is something that I feel like John has been fighting with kind of the tail end of last season, and now this is the third event of this season. We have a lot of near scratches or scratches for John Douglas, so that's something he's got to work on. The rest of it seems pretty consistent. The takeoff side of it feels pretty consistent. Obviously, you always want to be shorter, but scratching a thing that will happen. Now, what I saw in Pony Express happens today. The third one will be really solid and good. Here comes Rick Holman now in the mall.
Little burst of
He
power.
was rock solid yesterday, and it is again today. Look at that.
I think he's got a passenger in there. Looks like he might have a skeleton sitting next to him.
Well, these guys really like skeletons. They dropped
Yeah.
one off at the booth. And watching the replay, here we go for another really solid
Oh,
one.
yeah.
You got it dialed in.
Just like you said, Jughead.
Skeleton reminds me of old the 95th Fighter Squadron, Mr. Bones. I used to fly F-15 with. We always had a skeleton with us all on the road, and had a coffin in the squadron bar, and Mr. Bones was there for the birth of our children, and I think the conception of half of them too. But
oh, jeez.
You're not supposed to laugh at that, Cam.
No, that's all right. So we're going over to the wilderness class real quick. I want to check in. Look at this. Kyle Bushman, 2 scratches. Last chance to unseat Jeff Whiteley in his own plane.
And now, are you guys aware of the little side bet they've got going?
We haven't told the crowd about it yet, if you want to fill us all in.
Yes, please.
Well, I know what it started as. So, obviously, Kyle Bushman is the mastermind behind building that airplane. Jeff Whiteley, Jeff Rowe, is the owner and the brainchild of what he wanted in the Beast. And those two have worked together hand in hand, flown it all over the U.S. The first time for them to compete against each other in the airplane. They both have pretty nice beards and hockey hair, as we call. But I think at the end of this competition, one of them is going to be sporting a special haircut in commemoration of losing to their best friend.
So the stakes are pretty high based on what they're going to look like after they leave Ontario, Oregon. Last chance for Kyle Bushman to save his head.
And he's going to pull back. Judge is saying somewhere under 300 feet.
But how are the actual scores? Looking up here between Jeff and Kyle, the scores are pretty close there. I see a 285, a potential, well, both 285. So if Kyle can get one across the line, this absolutely is going to be a neck and neck or a razor thin.
Like what you did there.
That was well done. There goes Andrew Patry off into the wild blue yonder. He's currently holding on to first place.
235 on that takeoff.
Rick Holman, I think, still has a chance, though. He's been dialing it in.
So last night, John and Rowdy and I were sitting around the tent after the great barbecue and got to talking. One of the things that John's struggling with, like you talk about, is density altitude. But for most people, we struggle when we get to high density altitude. John, we'll let him take off here. He's struggling to learn that airplane at low density altitude. So when I took off today, my AV-30 was showing 5,200 foot density altitude. That is over 1,000 feet lower than John's home airfield. He's only going to see those conditions in the wintertime at best. And so he's trying to figure out his airplane in this thick air, as he calls it. The rest of us are going, this is kind of high. And he's like, oh, this is really low.
Yeah, I think my field elevation at Timmerman Airport is like 1,000 feet, give or take.
Mine's 400. So, yeah.
Here's Rick Holman on the roll now. Clean pull for him on that one.
And the thing you notice about Rick, how smooth he is. He's not slamming that airplane on the ground. He's not aggressively rotating it. He is finesse smooth with that airplane, which goes to show he's probably got a lot of experience in the backcountry working that airplane, and he is really – I'm glad he's not in my class this year, to be honest with you, because I don't like losing to a mall, let alone a mall with a nose gear, but I think he's beating me.
Here comes Kyle Bushman now. Last attempt to save the hair on top of his head.
At least some of it.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a mohawk.
Yeah,
if he loses.
Mohawk. They're going to go mohawk style with it.
And I think it may include the beard as well. Yeah, I threw that out as a challenge. Of course, I had no skin in the game. But we'll see. Come on, buddy. Get it over there. There it is. That one's good.
Okay.
That
There
one's
we
good.
go.
Get that thing stopped.
Oh, that's a sub 200-foot stop, too.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, maybe pulled it out.
He's happy. Look at him. He's pumping the fist in the airplane. He knows it. He might have just scraped by.
And he did by 15 feet. That is going to be a rough one for Jeff Whiteley. And look at their best takeoffs. Their both best runs were the third run. within 4 feet of each other on the takeoff. So it literally basically came down to that landing for Kyle Bushman. Andrew Patry now settling in.
He's going to chop the throttle. And it's good over the line.
I was about to say that was one of the more gentle landings we've seen from Andrew.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, I know he rebuilds that nose fork quite often. He's got some reinforcement on the firewall. Of course, he's got the skid plate on the tail. That old Bumblebee gets worked.
Oh, and drama. A scratch after review by the judges. Just touched that line right at the end of it there. Cannot touch the line this season.
Wow.
And that may be a change for him. He hasn't flown since that change happened, but he's still going to hold right now in first with 503 feet. Here's John Douglas hoping to get on the board. Safe decision in terms of scoring there.
Yep, gave up probably 75, 80 feet. But he's going to get it stopped.
You know, and it's interesting because John got started in this world by hosting this competition in Pinedale, Wyoming. And Jeff Pohl came out and talked to him one day and said, why aren't you flying? You need to be flying. And so he's taken it upon himself and his wife. They've got his grandkid with him this year, or this event, and they make sure that they go to as many contests and compete as well as reach out to see how different organizations put on their show, invite people to Pinedale, and it's on my list. He's asked me to be there so many times. I've really tried. I'm trying to make it, but it is a tough time of year for me.
Oh, it's a great one up there in the mountains. It's absolutely beautiful. Here's Rick Holman now in the mall, coming up over the line. Good over the line.
Yeah.
Retracting those flaps, reducing the lift as much as possible.
You can see those wheels locked up.
Just sliding through that turf. So that is going to wrap up the Wilderness and the Touring class. Any final thoughts on that, Jughead? We just saw a lot of big airplanes flying pretty short.
Well, it's because they're flying them well. They're practicing. They're flying them slow. No special skills here. It's just special practice to get really refined. I encourage anybody out there, no matter what you're flying, make sure you're expanding and maximizing your airplane and your potential. Whether you compete or not, it just makes you a much better, safer pilot. I've had a great day here. It's always wonderful the support we get out of the Ontario community. Can't wait to come back next year, but I'm getting ready to go out and line judge in the next heat. So, guys, unless you got something for me, I'm turning it back over to the pros. Keep up the great work in here.
I don't know if you calling us pros is maybe the biggest compliment I've gotten all day. Thank you so much for joining us. Folks, we will be back right after this.
Learn from flyers worldwide. Watch your flights unfold with accurate terrain, scenery, altitude, ground speed, and ground track. Improving your wind situational awareness by reviewing your flight path with wind data. Invite friends to join you. Debriefing with peers is a blast. Seeing your skills improve fast by avoiding repeated mistakes. Never wasting a chance to document bragging rights, or continue to improve by connecting with pilots and instructors who inspire you. Just tap to record.
Well, a friend of mine, actually it was Corey Robin, told me about these Flying Eyes glasses while we were at Oshkosh. We went and checked them out, and they're awesome. But what I really like is the glasses themselves. They're very light. The earpieces are real thin and flexible, so you don't even know you have them on under a headset. If I put my headset on, I mean, they're just as comfortable as could be, and they're so thin, I can actually take them on and off without removing my headset. I couldn't do that with my other glasses. And then the other really cool thing about these, they make some awesome sunglasses, but they have these cool sunglass lenses that just snap on. So now instead of having to carry a big extra glass case in my pocket, that's all I got to carry to take my sunglasses with me. So there's several things about them that I'm really, really liking. Flying eyes. Awesome glasses.
Sarasota was created actually back in the 70s, but we and Bert and Vince, my two partners, they've sold their business to Ryan and Sean, which is my two other partners now. We started around in 1999, 2000. Just had one little spot in this hangar, and we've built it up from there. So we've been here for 23 years now. So, and then we have 5 facilities now here in the state of Florida. First starts in Tampa, Sarasota. Venice here is our main headquarters, and we have Punta Gorda and then Fort Lauderdale, Lantana. And we have partners in Brazil, South Africa, Greece, Tullahoma, Tennessee, all over the world. We're the largest Garmin dealer in the world, so that's probably what we've been known for. So we do more installs on aircraft, general aviation, anything really under 10,000 pounds than anybody else in the world. So, and we've been that for quite a few years now. So.
And we are back here in Ontario, Oregon for Oregon Trail STOL 2025. We've got 2 results to give you. We're going to start with the touring class and end with what's going to prove for someone to be a hair-raising experience. I got a couple laughs over there. Thank you. Yeah, I workshopped that one on the walk over. Okay, it's time for your touring class. In 3rd place with a combined score of 741 feet, give it up for John Douglas. In 2nd place, with a combined score of 572 feet, give it up for Rick Holman. And in 1st place, way to return back to the series with some thunder, with a combined score of 503 feet. Everyone give it up for Andrew Patry. The Bumblebee. Andrew, what's it like to be back?
Feels good. Feels good.
How was the plane flying today?
It was good. I still try to get used to the reversible prop. I think it added a little bit on my distance on the first 2, but I didn't even try it on the last one.
Well, it's working for you. Obviously, work on it throughout the season. Everyone give it up again for the touring class. Oregon Trail STOL 2025. They're on the prole. They're on the, there's someone who's gonna get wet. Oh no! And next up, we have to talk about the experimental heavies, the new class. Come on over here, gentlemen. The wilderness class. Do you guys know how this ended up?
No, I have no clue.
Okay, they said they have no clue. You want to see it, yeah. Not a sponsor, but could be Wall Trimmers. I'm not doing it, though. Yeah. No, I wouldn't trust me to do it. Okay, we're separated by 15 feet, folks. That is something else. Yeah, you can cheer for that. That's pretty tight. In 2nd place, with a combined score of 505 feet. Give it up for Jeff Whiteley. And in 1st place, with a combined score of 490 feet, give it up for Kyle Bushman. Wait, what? Yeah, they got to figure. What? I'm just gonna interview you while he's got tape now. He's got him sitting down like a true barber chair here. Here. I don't know if you can hear. Oh, it's really going off. Kyle, how was the flying today while you're working here?
Gosh, I had 2 scratches. I couldn't get the airplane figured out, and I was like, I can't scratch 3 times. That's not gonna be good. My family's watching. Oh, I gotta take this seriously. He has to show up for work on Monday. My family's watching.
Oh, he's trying to make it nice and clean for him.
All right.
All right, and Jeff, You're handling this like a champ. What was it like flying for you today?
Better than yesterday. I felt really good about that. I made a couple mistakes, and the first one felt great on takeoff at first scratch, and nerves got to me. And then I just decided to drop it in and make sure I didn't scratch, and well, that's where the nerves got me.
He's being very kind to you right now. I just want to be. Oh, he's saying he's going to start it. We're going to finish it later.
You got to remember, he's my best friend, so I got to take this serious.
Okay, all right. Well, they're going to keep doing a haircut. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more STOL flying right after this.
Sarasota was created actually back in the 70s, but we and Bert and Vince, my two partners, they've sold their business to Ryan and Sean, which is my two other partners now. We started around in 1999, 2000. Just had one little spot in this hangar, and we've built it up from there. So we've been here for 23 years now. And then we have 5 facilities now here in the state of Florida. First starts in Tampa, Sarasota. Venice here is our main headquarters, and we have Punta Gorda and then Fort Lauderdale, Lantana. Then we have partners in Brazil, South Africa, Greece, Tullahoma, Tennessee, all over the world. We're the largest Garmin dealer in the world, so that's probably what we've been known for. So we do more installs on aircraft, general aviation, anything really under 10,000 pounds than anybody else in the world. So, and we've been that for quite a few years now.
And welcome back to Oregon Trail STOL.
I'm Ash here at Ontario with Oregon Trail STOL. We are here for our turf report. It is just after noon, and we are seeing DAs already above 4,000 feet, which is definitely something we're going to see affecting the scores for the rest of the day. These pilots have been doing a great job so far. It was super hot yesterday, so they had a chance to practice in some of this heat, but we're really excited to see what they do with it today. Winds are a little bit more favorable, hopefully, so we're gonna see what it does with the rest of the day. The winds are supposed to pick up a little bit. We're hoping they pick up in our favor, but these guys have been doing awesome. They had everything sprayed down this morning super nicely. It was making it a little slick at first for the guys in the first round, but it looks like it's dried out pretty well. So we're excited to see what the rest of the day holds. Back to you in the booth, Ryan and Cam.
Thanks so much for that turf report out there on the field, Ash Krieger. Things are just kicking up. We are having a great time here. I hope Jeff Whiteley, we'll have to see how that ends up at the awards ceremony tonight, what his hair ends up looking like. They were working on it. I want to say, Kyle Bushman, it made me feel comfortable, Cam, with all the mechanic work. If Kyle Bushman puts as much effort into his mechanics work as he does into Jeff Whiteley's hair, we're going to be doing great. So that is great. Here's the scores as they ended in the touring class.
First place, Andrew Patry, combined total of 503. Second place, Rick Holman, combined total of 572. Third place, John Douglas, combined total of 741 for your touring class. And for the wilderness class, first place, Kyle Bushman, combined total of 490. And second place, Jeff Whiteley, 505 combined total for him.
So that is the wilderness, the touring, and the backcountry classes. Those are basically like the big airplanes. We're going to see another really big one a little bit later today. But while we wait for the action to start, check out the rookie class. This is what's coming up next. We're going to have Rick Holman's son. More skeletons hanging out in the 1991 Mall MX-7. Doug Tolbert coming to play in a 1995 Kit Fox 4, and Ronnie Sanner in a 2009 Rans S7S. And we're also going to have our one competitor in the Cub class competing in this heat, Gary Call, in a 2012 Cub Crafters SS. That's going to be fun to see. So you're going to see a big difference in performance there. Rookie class is the one class in National STOL, besides Unlimited, I guess, where the aircraft are just kind of paired together. They're not grouped together by performance. They're grouped together by skill. And so it's always fun to see the rookie class. You really, folks, here in the crowd, you got to cheer real big for these rookie class pilots when they come out and fly for you, because it's the first time, and it's hard to do anything in front of a crowd, especially fly. So we can't wait to see them flying. Also, I want to give a little recognition to the folks on top of this broadcast trail. We've got our 3 air bosses up there helping us keep everyone separated and safe, helping us keep things on schedule, Cam. And so big thanks to them. Let's learn a little bit more about our rookies.
It's a home.
This is the first National STOL event. I vowed I would never compete. I'm like, it's not for me. And I still say I'm not competing. I'm in the rookie class, just the most laid-back class. There's no regulation on what kind of plane you have or anything else. It's just kind of the newer people that are just kind of getting into it as an introductory lesson.
I'm Rod Hewitt. This is my dad, Steve Hewitt, world's greatest pilot, CFI II. Take note of this thing. This is the winning plane here.
If I finish the day, I'll be happy. So, you know, if I finish last, it's a win.
My aircraft is a 1955 Cessna 170B. Some of the modifications that I've done to it, I put the Continental IO 370, 195 horsepower engine with an 83-inch Hartzell constant speed propeller. Put titanium landing gear on.
As a rookie, you get out there and it's like you see all these people and then everything changes, you know? It's kind of wild.
And you talked a little bit earlier about the performance modifications. You're not looking to make this thing a hot rod, right?
Oh, no, it's a PA-11. There's nothing hot rod about it.
Pat McIntyre, I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm in the rookie class. This is my first time competing at one of these events. I've attended many of them, but first time being a participant. It's wonderful.
It was a good run. The landings were so-so.
Oh, with a scratch.
So just go out there and, you know, energy power management, that kind of stuff, figure out where the line is, find out what the wind's doing. Yep, just go out and have a good, safe day.
So if you're on the fence about this and think, I can't do this, this is for pros, you're wrong. If you've got an airplane and you've got a little bit of skill, this place is for you. It's a home.
And welcome back to the 2025 National STOL Series Oregon Trail STOL in Ontario, Oregon. Right now we're about to have the rookie class compete for us.
You have your rookie and Cub class together. You can see them starting to taxi out on the runway there.
We're now looking at Derek Holman.
Yeah, he's going to taxi up for you again, folks. As these rookies taxi past, make sure you cheer for them good and loud because they can hear you in the cockpit. First up, in that 1991 Mall MXT-7 180, they call him the Tricycle Tornado. Give it up for race number 345, Derek Holman.
He graduated high school just last year and recently earned his private pilot's license.
Get a lot of mud on those tires there as he taxis down the taxiway. Next up, in a 1995 Kit Fox 4 Classic from Idaho Falls, Idaho, race number 96. Give it up for Doug Tolbert.
Flying was a lifelong dream for Doug. He started at 12 years old and never looked back. He holds a private pilot's license for both single-engine and multi-engine aircraft.
From Hayden, Idaho, race number 171, a 2009 Rans S7S. And yes, it is for sale, folks. Give it up for Ronnie Sanner.
This aircraft for sale has a Rotax 912. Gross weight is 1250, and he has 29-inch tires. So if you're looking for a STOL competitor or STOL competition aircraft, look no further.
From Blackfoot, Idaho, not a rookie in the Cub class. 2012 Cub Crafters Carbon Cub SS, race number 21. Everyone give it up for Gary Call.
219 Charlie was built in 2012 by Cub Crafters in Yakima, and Gary served as a company demo, or I'm sorry, the aircraft served as a company demo for 2 years before being sold to Gary.
So interesting to see what he'll do today. Had a couple sporty landings yesterday.
A little sporty.
A few that got a little turny.
Yeah.
As my flight instructor would say. Sometimes you gotta, especially with the tail draggers, right? You get, asymmetrical braking or something like that happening. Your tail can kick out a little bit.
Yep.
Or maybe with a tailwind. That can happen too. Okay, we're underway in the rookie class. Here comes Derek Holman. Whoa, giving his dad a run for the money. Holy cow, taking off nice and short there for Derek Holman. And this is something we can keep track of here while we watch. So Rick Holman's best takeoff was 274. Let's see if his son can outdo him. Getting close, 287.
All right.
Next up, Doug Tolbert in the 1995 Kit Fox 4.
Beautiful red aircraft. Woo!
Okay. He maybe could have pulled a little bit sooner on that one.
I mean, probably. It just leaped into the air.
Ronnie Sanner waiting for his release by the air bosses.
There's a beautiful Rans S7S. That tail coming up. That definitely was a short takeoff. We're looking at sub 190 on that.
Nice and short there. So one of the things to mention about the rookie class, by the way, folks, is that if you win the rookie class, you can't be a rookie anymore. One-time winning. Here's in the Cup class.
Mr. Gary Call.
So Gary Call was pretty consistent on the takeoffs yesterday during practice, but the landings were his struggle point. He's got a little bit of coaching from Joel Milloway as well, we saw yesterday, so we'll see how that all ties in together for him.
Yeah.
They're going around the pattern right now. I want to talk again about our friends over at Flying Eyes. Check them out. I mean, they're just great for pilots. The big thing is they slip in underneath your headset real smoothly, and then you've got some magnetic sunglasses you can throw on there. Coupon code National Stole, 10% off. Thank you so much for Flying Eyes. Now, check it out. In the mall, short final, Derek Holman.
And it's good. He's going to give up 100 feet or so. He's going to get it stopped pretty short relative to that 100-foot. Looks like somewhere over 325. Just a little bit over, probably 328.
We'll see what the number comes in. What the number comes in, and I love how passionate Cam is about trying to guess the number.
330.
330, nailed it. So that's Derek Holman now on the board. Good, safe from a competitive standpoint. It was definitely safe from a performance standpoint. Competitively at 617 now combined. We go back over to his dad. His best was 600.
Okay.
Kid Fox now coming in a little hot. These classics always do. Just not a lot of wing compared to some of the other bush planes.
And it's got to turn just a little bit. Not lined up with the runway, so he's probably going to get a warning for that.
They say as a tailwheel pilot, it's not about if you will ground loop your airplane, but when.
Yep.
And I feel like for me, I'll raise my hand and say that I did do that during my training in a Cub. For me, it happens when you're in that transitionary point where your rudder, your vertical stabilizer, they're not effective anymore. You don't have as much speed to keep things going straight down the runway. Ronnie Sander now in the Rands.
There's a cool looking aircraft without the cowling on.
Gave up about a plane length. He's going to keep it balanced on those gear. That's pretty good style points for a rookie.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, will be the shortest of the rookie class after this first run. He had a 189-foot takeoff combined with a 163-foot landing. Combined score of 352. So really what we have right now in rookie class so far is a battle for second with Derek Holman and Doug Tolbert just 4 feet apart. Over in the Cub class now, Gary Call. Takeoff of 164.
Nice and slow. Just nursing that throttle. He's good to go on that. You can see him with the happy feet on his rudders.
Yeah, really working to keep that thing straight. I think the other thing we saw there, adding a lot of power, definitely was not afraid to let it drop in.
Yeah.
I don't want to, backseat coach. It was a little bit higher than I'd like to see someone when they do that. I'm not a flight instructor like Ash is or any of the, Jughead has done all his time as a backcountry pilot. For me, there was just a moment where it felt a little too high to be letting it YOLO into the grass personally. So that directional control thing, again, for Gary Call was an issue yesterday. Seemed to have it better under control this time. Less energy over the line will help with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Although I did just say that the less energy you have over the line, also the less effective your flight controls are.
Yeah, it's a
balance.
dance. Yeah, exactly.
It's a dance. I like that, Cam. Doing the rudder pedal dance. The way it was taught to me in flight training was you tappity-tap. You don't press. You just tap, 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 tappity-tap.
Yeah,
little
I
tap
like that.
dance on those rudder pedals. This has been Flight School with Ryan and Cam. Okay, so we're getting ready for the second run of the rookie and Cub classes here at Oregon Trail STOL 2025 here at beautiful Ontario, Oregon Municipal Airport. And I got to tell you, I don't know if people just don't know how beautiful this part of the state and this part of the country is.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. They call it a desert, but I see lots of green.
There's a lot of water, I think, to make that happen. Here we go. With the maul off. Didn't feel as clean as the first run to me.
We're just going to do a wind check real quick. Winds out of the 170 at 3 knots.
So maybe a little bit more. We had 1 knot, I think, when the touring class was flying.
Yep.
When Jughead was flying in the backcountry class. Here's Doug Tolbert in that beautiful red aircraft. Okay, That was really nice. We did critique last time. We said he could have maybe pulled a second or two sooner. He might be listening. Don't take your coaching from the announcers. Let's just put it that way. But he definitely did it, and I believe he was off shorter. Let's see. Oh, considerably shorter. Yeah. Down from 224 to 181.
All right.
Here's Ronnie Sander, currently in first place in the rookie class. And right around a little bit further than Doug, but in that same kind of striking zone, a little over 200 feet. Let's go over to Gary Call.
In the Cub class.
369 feet combined in his first run. He's battling against himself here at Oregon Trail.
Yep. We'll see what he does for his second takeoff for the day. Nice and smooth.
Yeah, the takeoffs are working for Gary, right?
Yeah.
I think that first takeoff was 164. Let's see what this second takeoff was for him as he turns right into right traffic pattern traffic. That's the specific term that people use. 217, so considerably longer for Gary Call on that one than his first run. Now, to your left, folks, back in the rookie class, Derek Holman. Doing a formation landing there with one of the transient folks. Going to hold it off. Oh, maybe just a little too short. There's always that hard decision. It's almost like you can hear the pilot thinking about it, right? It's like, I'm going to be really close. I'm losing lift. The lift is about to die from dysentery. I need to, do I add a little bit of throttle or not? And I think in that case, it's a tough call because you're so close.
Yeah.
You can see why they call this the tornado, though. It's a big future of bush flying in his future. Go over to Doug Tolbert now. Oh, good. Kept it off a little bit of back pressure, kept it off the ground. Now he's got to get all that energy dissipated. A little bit of slide to the right, slide to the left. So Derek Holman may be unseated here. Let's see what that landing distance was for Doug Tolbert. Yes, that's going to put him into second, down to 546 feet. Shaved a little bit off on the landing and shaved a bunch off on the takeoff for Doug Tolbert. Derek Holman, I think, would have been even more in front of him, but the scratch takes him out of it. Here's Ronnie Sander, currently in first place in the rookie class. Right on the line. Ooh. Judge does not know.
Just going to stand it up on the tail.
The lack of wind is also really contributing to that, right? If you have a headwind coming down the runway, it's going to help you keep things straight.
Yep.
Let's go to the replay here to see if we can call it good or a scratch. You see some dirt kicking up before the line, so that's going to be a scratch for Ronnie Sanders. So only one on the board with a big improvement, too, is Doug Tolbert. Now we're going to go over to the Cub class.
With Gary Call. Keeping it nice and slow. Plopping
Dropped
it in.
out on him.
But that is a scratch.
Oh, and not going to stop. You got to stop.
Yeah.
That's a big feedback for folks who are newer to this series. Always stop, even if it's a scratch, because you don't know if you scratched.
That's
I mean,
true.
I think that time he had a pretty fair idea, but if you're not sure, it's better just to get the muscle memory of getting hard on those brakes.
Yep.
Get it stopped. Sort out the scratch afterwards. Folks, while they taxi back for the third and final run of the rookie and Cub classes here at Ontario, Oregon, let's talk about our friends over at Fly Orca. Fly Orca was created to help you achieve your aviation goals. You can connect with community discover training opportunities, and share your journey from tracking your improvements over time and reflecting on your progress to striving alongside your buddies. Find trusted instructors and celebrating your aviation journey with familia and friends. We're here to keep your aviation fire burning strong. That's Fly Orca. It's a great app to help pilots improve and maintain community. We thank them for their support this year for National STOL.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Adriana.
Oh, get those gear retracted there. That's always
Yeah.
cool. It's always so funky the way they drop down and they're like, oh, I'm hanging out here. Well, we're going to put these away. That's the voice that...
I mean, they look like that voice.
Yeah,
yes.
the retractable Cessnas make. Sorry. Okay, here we go in the mall. Derek Coleman trying to get back into second place in the mall. Let's see what that number comes in at. His best takeoff was his last run at 250 feet. 311, so the longest yet. So he's going to have his work cut out for him on the landing. Here's Doug Tolbert, currently in second place with 546 feet, yanking it back. Nice short one for him. That may be his shortest yet, give or take a foot. Previous takeoff was 181. Ronnie Sander at the line in the S7.
.186 for Doug Tolbert on that takeoff.
Ronnie Sander giving it the beans. Pulling back. Ooh, nice clean pull there.
Yes.
Just over 225 for Ronnie Sander. That was well timed. Gary Call now in the Cub class. Best takeoff so far, 164 on his first run.
We'll see what he does with no wind.
Flags are standing still.
Not bad.
That was real clean. It could have. That's another one where the plane, if the main wheels leave the ground before the tail wheel touches, you could have pulled a little sooner. So he could have maybe shaved a few feet off. That was 238. So his first one, with the little bit of wind we did have. I mean, imagine, people wonder, like, how much difference, you know, if you've never looked at your POH and looked at how much difference a little bit of wind in any direction can mess with your landing distances. We got proof right here from 164 to 238. So Gary Call likely will have his first run be his best. Well, they come around the pattern here. I want to make special note of our friends at Clemens Insurance. They're big-time sponsors of this big-time show, National STOL. Most affordable and best insurance coverage available. Derek Holman now right on the line for Derek Holman. That was accurate. Line judge saying, yep, it's good. Nice.
It's just going to be sub 300, just barely behind that line.
Here he comes in on the instant replay. Good over the, I think the tail scratched the line a little bit. The tie down, the tail tie down there touched the line, but that's fine as long as the mains get over, and he did. That is going to be his best run, combined total of 609 feet for Derek Holman. Doug Tolbert coming in the Kit Fox, working those flaperons.
Got a little speed on him.
Yeah, came in real low over the grass tops. And he's just sliding, dude.
Yeah.
He is just sliding through the grass.
Jeez.
Little slip and slide here in Oregon today. Ronnie Sander coming around the bend. So not only should you check out our friends at Clemens Insurance, they maintain the highest standards of excellence, you should also check out our friends over at Lift Aviation USA. Their love for flying drives them to deliver only the finest in aviation products to market. They believe today's pilots deserve much more than what is currently offered in the way of products they wear in the cockpit. They're bridging the gap and making products that are stronger and lighter that you can trust. They actually provide 2 helmets for the rookies to borrow. Ronnie Sander, couldn't hold it up. You heard that throttle working.
Yep.
Brown, brown. That's my impression of the S7.
Very good.
Was it good?
Yes.
So he was working hard to keep it off the ground. Couldn't do it. Good thing for Ronnie Sander that he had that solid first run because he scratched on run 2 and 3. But that is going to hold for him. Next up, Gary Call, a class of 1 in the Cub class. Well, Gary Call comes in. We've got a question in the chat about classes and what separates them. And it is primarily weight, but it's also lifting devices. Look, Gary Call hanging it out there, going to drop it in real hard. Now he's got to get it stopped, get it over to the center of the runway a little bit. And not stopping, that he definitely 100% should have stopped on that one there. Let's look. Landing well short, I guess he knew.
So his landing gear splayed out.
Yeah, he was working it.
Yeah.
He was working it. Okay, folks, that's going to wrap up our rookie and Cub class. But again, what you're seeing here today is different classes of aircraft separated not only by weight, primarily by weight, but also various modifications of performance. So a lot of times the certificated airplanes are separated from the experimentals.
Yep.
And then in this class, for instance, the Cub class, it has a lot to do with horsepower, lifting devices, things like that, that class that Gary was in. We'll walk you through some more of those after this. But, man, nice show for the rookies. You can cheer for them as they pass by you. Give it a good old shout-out to Gary as well and that Cub as he taxis by. We'll be back with more STOL action in just a few minutes. What's up, Av Geeks and STOL Freaks, everyone? My name's Ryan Dabrowski. Below me on your screen, the legend himself, Burstix TV, in Jennings, Louisiana for Swamp STOL, E-STOL today. And now we are ready for our second ever, if I'm not mistaken, E-STOL event. And Tom Smith. There's Mark now, getting that tail down, he's up. Smith now, whoa, with a little bit of a problem. Race course here from this Robinson flying over as we get ready for our unlimited class.
It's on Microsoft Flight Sim over on flightsim.to. The Rans S6S.
Coming in hot.
coming in. Nice landing, soft and dainty.
It's crazy. Like, I'm doing the math of that. I'm going, oh man, how much did that cost? But maybe we'll save that. We'll save that for another time.
That's goals right there. That is goals. If we all had that flight simulator set up, I think we'd spend even less time, you know, in the real world. And I don't know. Maybe I'll stay away from the VR. That's why I'm scared of it. I don't want to get VR and then, you know, not come out of my room for a couple days.
All right, we're getting packed up here. We're at the hangar. And the Scout packed up for the Lone Star STOL, and this is going to be a handful of things you're going to need. It's not much. These are some of the basic essentials you're going to need for a STOL competition, or if you're just coming to hang out and watch the STOL. We got, honestly, just a feed tub of random stuff, flashlights, extra tie downs. We got fuel bladders, which are Jeff Daly's. He's probably going to want those back. We use those to drain some fuel to drop some weight. Lawn chair, another one of Jeff Daly's. He's gonna want that back too, but yeah, then you got your bag, extra clothes, tie downs. You gotta have a sweet edition Cowie hat. It's just how I roll. A tent, Mexican blankets, and some pads. And that's really all you really need to do to go to one of these things. It's that simple. The Cowie Scott Sweet Edition hat was it's a company based out of south of Lincoln. My buddy started it. He was a bull rider, and I started wearing his stuff. And this hat in particular was one that no one wanted. It was they labeled it limited edition because they couldn't sell it. It's brown and white. And I started wearing it to every show, and it just kind of it just snowballed. Everybody started wanting one. So I gave my buddy a hard time. I said, "Man, you ought to call it the Sweet Edition." So one day he messages me and says, "Hey man, I made it into the Sweet Edition. I hope you don't mind. I put your last name on the side of it." And of course I didn't care. It's his company, and voila, we have the Sweet Edition Cowie hat. That's how it all started. To get on Cowie and get yourself one of these Cowie Sweet Edition hats, it's gonna help you compete. It's gonna be the best thing you ever did. Hey everybody, Scott Sleep from Hyannis, Nebraska, and I fly Bronca Scout and National STOL.
And we are back here in Ontario, Oregon for Oregon Trail STOL 2025. Let's give it up for these rookies. Yeah, doing it the first time. It's scary. I couldn't even fly non-competitively in front of people. I only fly at like 2 a.m. because I don't want anyone to see. All right, in third place, the combined score of 609 feet, close to your dad. Get on up there. Third place goes to Derek. That one's third. Yeah. There we go. In second place with a combined score of 546, I believe. Give it up for Doug Tolbert. That's that one over there. There we go. That's right. This is their first time doing this. There we go. And in first place with a combined score of 352 feet. Give it up for Ronnie Sanner. Congratulations. Now here's the deal. Anymore. So you can't, you could hear that. You can't fly in the rookie class anymore, Ronnie. What's next for you in the National STOL circuit?
Just finishing up a Badlands Traveler and trying to get it put together and hopefully Moses Lake.
Gonna have the BLT ready Moses Lake?
We're trying really hard.
Another BLT coming for you. All right, everyone, give it up for the rookie class, Oregon Trail STOL 2025. All right, they're going for it. They're going to empty those whole things out. Wait, it's not fair. It's not even his turn yet. All right. So Gary is in the Cub class. Where, yeah, here, you got to stand on this one. With a combined score, everybody, give it up for Gary. 369, first place in the Cup class, putting on a show for us today. There, it's back. Talk to us a little bit about what it was like out there today.
Anxious, very anxiety-provoking.
Okay.
A lot of people standing along here. I'm not used to all these people where I land.
Yeah, me neither.
And I'm told I have to move my feet. The
advice. Oh, there we're back. Yeah.
Move my feet more.
Got it. Yeah. Well, that's the tail drag. Be back right after this.
I'm Ash with National STOL, and I'm here with Hal and the Lawnmower 4.1. Hal, why don't you tell us a little bit about this airplane?
Everybody asks about the 4.1. It caught on fire last October, so I had to rebuild it, and it's basically the tail and some of the controls and what have you are all that's left of the old airplane. So we just made it 4.1 instead of 4.0 or Lawnmower 4. It's a Badlands Vaquero, which is the first Rotax powered Badlands, and it's also built for the Rotax, so it's a little shorter, a little lighter, a little less wingspan to take advantage of the lighter engine.
And I see you went ahead and slapped some canards on this thing. Tell me about those.
Well, the theory behind the canards is we all put weight on our tail to get the CG back when it's light, so we got good elevator. So we thought, well, we're building it, why don't we put a canard on it and lift the front to help the elevator, and that'll unload the wing and make it fly slower. And I think it will, but it definitely flies different with them on.
Super cool that you guys were able to take that unfortunate incident and turn it into such a cool new aircraft.
The canard will, I can adjust the angle of attack inside the cockpit. So if you look on the side, there's little slash marks. The bottom slash mark is the angle of incidence of the wing. The top one is the angle of incidence of the tail. so I can put more angle of attack into it. I just need to fly it more and figure it out. But that seems to be better than the angle of incidence of the tail.
Interesting. So that's super cool to have a whole new system for you to learn, basically, and get a finesse a little bit.
Yeah, these just 2 pins they pull off, so it only takes a minute to put them on. They do slow it down in cruise a little bit because they are in the prop wash. So for your normal flying, you don't need them. It's when you're trying to work on the edge is when you need them.
Any last words, Hal?
Well, I would like to thank everybody that contributed to the GoFundMe to help me put it back together. I am kind of humbled and blessed. Over 1,000 people put in over $100,000, so that helped a lot to get it back in the air.
That's that aviation community. That is such a beautiful thing for those of us that are all involved. If you guys are curious about how to get involved with aviation, look for local events in your area and EAA chapters. Get involved to do a discovery flight with a local flight school. It is such an incredible community, and I think we can all attest to that here at this gorgeous event in Ontario this weekend.
And thank you, Ash, with that interview with Hal about Lawnmower 4.1.
Yeah.
We've been really looking forward to seeing that aircraft fly like this whole season, especially with the accident that Hal had with in-flight fire from last year. But just in 2 weeks, canards.
Yeah, so I mean the sneaky canard edition, and that's what's so cool about the unlimited class, right? Is you've got people constantly innovating, constantly adding and changing the aircraft. You'll see it even over the course of one day, right? Teams like, Steve Henry's team will be like, oh, it flew this way this morning or in practice yesterday. Let's swap something out for tomorrow.
Yep.
So that unlimited class really pushing the limits. Hal, a great example of that. Those canards, what's cool is he's been planning that the whole time. Just was the first time that he's put them on for competition. You saw in the video there, right? Like pre-worked it in the fuselage where they could still get at it while they're building the airplane. So kind of a cool thing. Great to see Hal, and great to see, like Ash mentioned, that community support for Hal, just absolutely incredible. We are about to kick things off. It's not time for Unlimited yet. It's time for Sport Class.
Oh, yes.
Let's learn a little bit more about what that class can do.
I'll grab one pin.
Rick, hold it.
Making the big bounce.
Okay.
He's sliding.
Came down and I was braking and it just shattered across the weld. My name is Justin Tisdale. I'm flying a Zenith 750, flying in the Sport class. My dad and I would always go to events and things like that, and I would always look up and just see people flying. And for me, it was something that I dreamed of doing. It's something that he dreamed of doing. We grew up like kind of poorish, and he was a cop and couldn't really afford to do that kind of stuff. So after I got out of the military, I started looking at aviation. I was like, man, I think I could do that. Wound up completing that dream of his and mine to become a pilot. And anyone can do it. I know if I can do it, other people can do it.
Howdy, I'm Levi No Guess. I'm from Killeen, Texas. I'm here for the fun. If I win, that's great. If I don't, I'm still having a blast.
My name is Sheldon Hetherington. I'm flying Redbird, a Zenith 750 STOL.
Here's Sheldon now in Redbird, overcome that axle issue that he had and now has it up and running.
New prop I'm trying. I just got it from eProps, and it's totally amazing.
Hi, I'm Dennis Rowe. I fly Just Aircraft Highlander, and I'm in the sport class. What do you say? You done it. You own it, and you learn from it, and you thank God. And in this case, it was not too serious.
You know, here's the embarrassing part. I always said, boy, to put a Highlander on its nose, you got to be an overachiever.
Yeah, I had to entertain everybody.
I started off at a young age, probably 3 years old, racing motocross.
You know, I come from a stunt background, and I was a professional bull rider. It just, what's next? Let's do it.
And that is our sport class with National STOL here at Oregon Trail STOL. We're getting geared up. We're seeing our nice line camera happening right now. We're about to have the lineup for the rookie class. Okay, so
these are the results for the rookie class. Yep. So right now we've got Derek Holman with 609, Doug Tolbert 546, and Ronnie Sanner 352.
good job to those pilots. Their first time competing with us, where one of them is no longer a rookie anymore.
That's right. Now it's time to chat about the sport class. Just learned a little bit more about the class. You're going to see today Joel Milloway in the 1996 Rans S7. He's race number 4. Chris Serrani, race number 179, 2021 Zenith 701. And Jeff Vallon, race 365, 2016 Zenith 701. There's also something very not sport class, just giving off Jet A vibes.
Oh, yes.
Behind them, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, it's time to give it up to one of your local-ish pilots for Blackfoot, Idaho. Race number 4, give it up for Joel Milloway.
Joel is a pilot, A&P, and builder fabricator. He's built many aircraft, especially aircraft that have competed on the STOL competition circuit. I'm glad to have him here in the Tiger Shark.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone in the crowd can figure out why they call it the Tiger Shark.
Nah, it's really
no
hard.
idea. no idea why they could possibly have ever called it that. Okay, next up, from Oasis Air Park in Oasis, Idaho, it's race number 179 of 2021 Zenith 701. Give it up for Chris Serrani.
Chris Serrani is running a Rotax 912 UL engine in that aircraft. It's got golf cart tires, if you can see them from the crowd.
That's an experimental thing.
Yep.
Run what you brung. Throw those golf cart tires on there.
Yeah, you can check out the huge fences on his horizontal stabilizer, and also the really large trim tab on the rudder back there.
Yeah, in an airplane like that, you might want to have a big trim tab to offset all that high angle of attack playtime. You're going to have another Zenith approaches from the Bay Area of California, race number 365, a 2016 Zenith 701. Everyone give it up for Jeff Vallon.
Jeff always wanted to fly and didn't get to start until age 45. He flew and camped in a tri-pacer all over the West Coast before it was sold to a buyer in Yakima, Washington.
So those are the sport airplanes that you're going to see in this heat, and those airplanes are, well, you can tell why they're sport airplanes, right? They're lighter than 1,320 pounds. Light, nice power-to-weight ratio.
Yeah.
But now something very loud and big is going to be taxiing by in the exhibition class. Look at this thing just taxiing by. I can't help but record some video of it. It's Dell Coller, folks, in the 2024 Monstre de Brouse, which really, in the United States, we just call it the Bruce. This aircraft was upgraded from a 450 horsepower radial piston engine to a 1,050 horsepower turboprop. It shed over 300 pounds in weight during its transformation. It's got a useful load of 2,300 pounds and can cruise at a jaw-dropping 1,000, no, it can't go 1,000 miles an hour. It can cruise at 192 knots. Someone's on the internet going to be like, I heard Ryan said it can cruise at 1,000 knots. That useful load of 2,300 pounds. We looked it up yesterday in practice. That's the equivalent of, like, it can carry a Mazda Miata.
Jeez.
Like, that's crazy. It's just a big, crazy thing. You're going to see it do big, crazy things in just a few minutes. But now, green flag for the sport class. Joel Milloway in the Tiger Shark, giving it full throttle, getting the tail up, and floating it off. And that is what the sport class is all about. Short takeoffs and landings. I didn't even know. That was super short.
Yeah.
94 feet, so we're down sub 100 right away. Here's Chris Serrani in the 701. Look at that angle of attack. That's why we've got that big trim tab on the back end that Cam pointed out.
Yeah, this is going to be the battle of the Zeniths, even though Joe Milloway is throwing down in the Rans S7. We'll see what Jeff Vallon and Lil Rabbit's going to do for us. As he gives it full throttle, we're going to see that. Whoa!
Leaping her off, settling. Is he going to hold it? Wow, he really went for
Wow,
it there.
I wasn't expecting that.
It was not. That airplane's only got 80 horsepower. Now this airplane's got considerably more.
Jeez. Always love seeing turbine aircraft. A Pratt & Whitney engine on that aircraft is going to produce some noise for us. And some good smells. The smells are free.
That was cool. I'm okay with it. It says here, by the way, folks, the cabin space inside the turbine Broussard measures 8 feet by 4 feet behind the pilot seats with 3 additional cargo areas. So you can see why, if you, I guess really, you couldn't fit a Mazda Miata in there whole, but if you cut it into pieces,
yeah,
it could carry it. Joel Milloway, base to final now in race number 4. 90. Sorry, we're into the scores now where I start to laugh because the numbers get so small. 94-foot takeoff. Here comes Joel Milloway. Settling in, hovering it in.
And we can hear him modulating the throttle. And he's good over the line.
Good over the line, we think. Tiger's going to roar right away. Joel Milloway. Let's go to the replay. Good over the line. Clearly, daylight under the wheels on the replay.
That takeoff and landing is going to be really close in numbers. We're looking sub 100 on that landing. So 94 feet on the takeoff, 98 feet on his landing.
Chris Serrani now. Race number 179, working through some burbles there. Good over the line, very gently done. Really buttered the bread on that one.
Yeah, you can see him working the brakes as his tires are shimmering over the grass. Jeff Vallon on approach in Little Rabbit. You see his high angle of attack. A little burst of power. Good over the line.
You can look at the shape, right? The shape of the airplane can kind of dictate the angle at which it likes to fly, those high angle attack modes of flight. And now, the monster.
The bush monster in English.
Monstre de Brouse. But they just call it the Bruce. Coming in, look at that thing just cut off. Wow.
Wow, good over the line.
It's so big.
It's so big.
Look at that on the replay. Triple tail, that's another thing that was added. Good over the line, yeah. Wow, well done,
yeah.
Dell. You know, Dell's got a history of working on some funky planes.
Yeah, we found that out last night, huh?
You may have seen on the air show circuit the Yak 110, where they took 2 Yak 55s and just welded them together. He had a hand in that sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
Such a cool airplane.
Yeah, and put a jet engine in between the 2 fuselages.
Can't forget that. Yep. So, let's check out the scores as we head over to the second run of the sport class. Right now, Joe Milloway holding in first with a combined score of 192. Jeff Vallon in second with a combined score of 325. Chris Serrani, combined score of 453. And over in the exhibition class, Dell Coller putting a plane that could weigh as much as 6,000 pounds if you load it up with a combined score of 862. And that is bonkers.
Absolutely.
Joel Milloway going to show us some bonkers takeoff numbers, yanking it up. I feel like he could be more aggressive.
I mean, he could be. It was very smooth, which, like you said earlier, it being that smooth on his takeoff means that he probably could have pulled a little earlier.
Chris Serrani now up on the line. Best takeoff so far, 178. It looks like Dell is hunting them.
Yeah.
Like he's chasing them. All right, here's Chris Serrani.
Nice, smooth takeoff. Great exhibition in short field operations, especially with the Zenith.
Jeff Vallon going to show you what this plane can do with 80 horsepower now. We were surprised last time. That's a little more textbook, I think.
Yep.
From a performance perspective, and look at that thing to fly off. Those airplanes, this is the other kind of interesting thing. I have no idea how much the Brouse costs to build and maintain and fuel, if I'm honest. But it is one side of the bush flying spectrum, and the Zenith is the complete other side in terms of affordability.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I would say so. Especially in operation
Zeniths
costs.
and those RANs in your garage at home or in your hangar. Okay.
It's so cool. And I'm glad that we have like such a cool aircraft like that, because I mean it gives me PC-6, the Porter vibes. You know, we don't usually see aircraft like that in the National STOL circuit, so being able to have that kind of Valdez-esque aircraft.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that here.
Joel Milloway on final approach. While he does so, because he flies that thing slow, I got a little bit of time. Let's talk about our friends at Sarasota Avionics. They're a long-term partner of National STOL, the authorized Garmin dealer and #1 aircraft avionics installing dealer in the nation. Thanks, Sarasota Avionics. Here's Joel Milloway. Whoa!
Ooh!
And they're calling it a scratch.
He's not going to be happy about
too.
that.
Just a little bit too short. So a big thanks to our friends at Sarasota Avionics. They've got upfront pricing, superior service, and expert consultants. One-stop shop for your next avionics upgrade. They offer Garmin prizes that will be distributed to the annual award winners at the end of the year. So Joel Milloway licking his wounds after that scratch. Still healthily in first. Chris Serrani with a 2-foot better takeoff than his previous run. Settling down into ground effect. Now he's going to cut that throttle. Boop.
Good over the line. Got some tire shimmying from his braking happening right now. Going to get it stopped, looks like, at 300 feet.
So Chris Serrani's aircraft weighs 50 pounds more than Jeff Vallon's, but if I'm not mistaken, it has a bit more horsepower. All of these planes, except for the Brouse, obviously, running that 80 to 100 horsepower range and all weighing between 600 and 723 pounds. Jeff Vallon working it down.
Ooh.
Nice, Jeff Vallon.
Little Rabbit performing for us today.
So no total improvement for Chris Serrani. Jeff Vallon seeing the same fate. No improvement for him on either his takeoff or his landing. And get your cameras ready, folks. Here comes the monster. Cam and I are doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it. You don't see this thing every day.
Sad I don't have my camera.
Good over the line. Well done, Dell. So that's going to be the second run for the Bush Monster from Caldwell, Idaho. And look at that. We're seeing improvement end over end on the takeoffs for Dell Coller. 299-foot takeoff, but a slightly longer landing that time, so it's actually going to be longer run two. His best so far, 862. Yesterday, I think we had a little bit more wind when he was running, and he was around 600 feet. Now is a great time, folks, especially when you've got this crazy airplane taxiing by. Great time to vote for your favorite pilot. NationalStol.com/vote. NationalStol.com/vote. You can put in Joel Milloway. You like that Tiger Shark pattern, or maybe you want to get some ups to the guy burning all the jet aim. Look at how big it is inside. Is he just camping inside the airplane?
I don't know. I thought I saw a tent back there, but I guess not.
Maybe. I don't know. And here's the other thing is listen to the prop, right? He's modulating into beta thrust as he taxis by to control his speed. So that's also super cool. I approve. Okay, Joel Milloway, Sport Class.
Ooh. You might. So the grass is really thick, but, I mean, he had it tickling the grass in ground effect on that takeoff. I'm excited to see what number he's going to produce on that because 106 feet. Okay. Not his shortest takeoff, but the next shortest.
Yeah.
Chris Serrani showing us what the Zenith can do, making the judges run.
So look at these Zeniths, right? You look at the front. You're gonna see these control surfaces more as we go on today. Those slats on the front of the Zenith design, helping the wind stay attached.
Ooh!
Oh, Jeff!
He just likes to do it when you're talking.
Yeah, only when I'm talking. Woo! No, but that was a good pull there for Jeff Valen. So those slats help the wind stay connected to the wing during those high angle of attack situations. Angle of attack is the angle of the wind, the apparent wind, the angle at which it hits the wing. So when you've got a wing like the Zeniths like to go real high, nose high, that's high angle of attack. Here is the Bruce.
Ooh! What?
I like the way it feels.
Yeah.
I like the way it feels when it flies by.
That has got to be his shortest takeoff for the day. Oh, yeah, it definitely is.
273?
Let's
what?
go.
In an airplane that can, oh my God,
carry a Mazda Miata.
Yeah.
In pieces. But
well, we should probably call Mazda and get some sponsorship dollars now for we keep talking about Mazda Miatas. Here comes Joel Milloway for his third and final landing of the Sport Class. And look, and another S7 pilot in the chat. Everyone's hanging out in a cornfield. Pat McIntyre there. He's got a laundry list of pilots.
Yeah, Colin Knieva's with him. Yo, what's going on, friends?
Joel Milloway dropping it in. Keeping that tail down. There we go, Joel. 106-foot takeoff. $133-foot landing, so his first run will still be his best at 192. Chris Serrani, high and to your left. That was quite the squadron of pilots that Pat McIntyre. So Pat McIntyre typically competing in the limited class. He says hanging in a cornfield? I don't know. In Nebraska with Colin Kaniva, Brandon Rice, and Rick Boardman watching STOL through Starlink. That is pretty cool, guys. Hello from Ontario, Oregon. Can't wait to see you on the circuit soon. Here's Chris Serrani getting that nose high, a little bit of a balloon. He's got to, you got to resist the urge to let it go, fall back down. You got to pull back and ease it, and that's exactly what he did.
Get that number from Chris on that landing. Still coming in. 310 on that landing. His longest landing for the day. As we have Little Rabbit, Mr. Jeff Vallon.
He kind of dropped it in there.
Yeah.
Not afraid to get a little sideways there. Got to keep it straight there, but no problems.
Yep. That's definitely going to be his shortest landing for the day. Combined with the second shortest takeoff.
Look at this shot of the Brouse coming in right now, just lumbering in.
160 on that landing for Jeff Vallon. Yeah, that is a beautiful airplane. He is
nice
tickling the grass.
Yeah, not worried about it. Gonna hold it off.
Oh! I don't know. Our line judge didn't have the blue flag up. I feel like that was a blue flag moment.
It was a blue flag moment there, but that I don't really care.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's cool.
Think about how big that airplane is and how short it's been landing. Scratch or no scratch, close enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Love having these exotic aircraft perform for us. All right. And while we're looking at the Broussard, we've got Ash in the pits with Ronnie Sanner. We'll have her in just a moment while we have these awesome visuals of the turbine Broussard.
Look at all the dust that thing is kicking up.
Yeah. They asked us if we could have the water truck come back out just to make sure that the crowd doesn't get sandblasted.
Okay, now we're ready to go to the pits with Ash and Brennan.
And we're back in the pits. I'm here with Ronnie. He just totally took the podium in our rookie class. And Ronnie, this is your first event. How did it feel to be on that podium today?
It's a great event. All the pilots were awesome, super mentoring. The staff's awesome. It's kind of intimidating the first time, but everybody was super helpful. Like, we're going to learn from the guys with this amount of experience. So I felt like if there was no award, if there was no contest, just come here and get to fly with all these amazing experienced pilots, and the attitude they have about wanting to help everybody learn was worth, everything. Yeah.
Awesome. We're so excited to see you in some other classes in the future at STOL events, and we'll go ahead and pop it back to the booth and see what's happening next.
Thanks so much, Ash. And yeah, what a great sport class that was. Congratulations again to Ronnie Sanner. Rookie no more. Let's go learn a little bit about how it all wrapped up in the sport class. Cam and I will be right back with more STOL action right after this. A special thanks to our local sponsors. EAA Chapter 837, Big Bite Inc., Ragwood Refactory, D.L. Evans Bank, Fighting Classics Air Museum, Grocery Outlet, Intermountain Law, LPL Financial, Mad River LLC, Midfield Aviation LLC, Porta Pros, Seafair Pacific, Fairchilds by Golden Valley Vinegar, Edge Performance Sports, Firkin Air LLC, and Sucker Creek Construction.
We've had it in all of our airplanes. Ever since we started with the Piper Saratoga in the early 2000s. We did the pulse oximeter and CO detector in there. We've upgraded to there. Now we have a Cessna 340 that I actually was talking to him in Germany last year, and he was like, oh, you got to put the cabin altitude thing in the plane. I said, well, send it to me. So we put it in there, and it actually is really nice. This aircraft flies above 18,000, 10,000 feet, so up to 23,000 feet the other day. The cabin altitude light comes on the manufacturer's panel, and boom, the CO Guardian comes on and says, all right, you're above 10,000, your cabin altitude is above 10,000 feet. So watch out. So it's kind of nice to have that redundancy in the plane. So for a pressurized aircraft, that is so important for me. I get that oxygen mask ready, make sure my oxygen is good.
You said that the most common position for the CO Guardian's over there on the right side?
Yeah, it would be generally somewhere in this area. And, if you went into the panel, and obviously you can go into the panel, and with this particular one I showed you the panel, he's basically got a 275. His ELT is going to be here. You've got USB charging port and programming port, which will be tied into these, is going to be here. Then you've got Bose, these two audio jacks here, and this particular prop de-ice one is going to end up in this here. You can build something off of this flange, which you could put the CO Guardian here. You could mount it to the top or the bottom of the glove box. Or if you're going to do a panel mount, you've got the mount holes, and I think there's 7, 9 holes that actually go through the panel, and basically I would cut those. Basically, every time I do an install, I go in and I download all of the latest manuals to make sure that everything's interconnected correctly. We don't miss anything. We don't miss any on-off switches, any warning lights.
Name's Kelly Qualls. I'm out of Hot Springs, Arkansas, flying 121 Papa Sierra, which is a Carbon Cub CC11-100, which means it's powered by an O200. I've got high compression pistons, so it's about 115, 120 horsepower. The only change I made, I think last year I still had the TKs on there, so upgraded to the Acme shocks. I like them a little better, and then went from the 850s that I had up to the 29s, just to get a little bit better rebound. And I do a lot of bush flying and such, so outside of just STOL events, having the bigger tires is a safety factor for me. Coming down to Swamp STOL, they had a pretty big storm come through, so everything's super wet. Some of the planes taxiing through were like 3 or 4 inches of water, it looked like. So they're splashing around. The crown on the runway is about the tallest part, so it should be good for an event perspective. But yeah, taxiing through is going to be a little bit wet and muddy. Last year when I was here, I was in the rookie class. There were 3 of us, Chris, Nick, and I ended up in first place in there, so they kicked me out. I'm no longer allowed to be called a rookie, so they bumped me over to the sport class, which is going to have the 12 or 13 pilots, and with that, it's going to be pretty stiff competition. I think out of all the classes, it's the one that has the most people in it.
Check. There we go, and we are back here in Ontario, Oregon. We're in the middle of Oregon Trail STOL 2025, and I see a big, beautiful crowd here. We got to give a round of applause, folks, for this sport class. They are working it out here for you in the heat, And, you know, give a round of applause to yourselves, too, because you're working it out in the heat. Get yourself a Kona Ice or something afterwards. You deserve it. All right, let's hear it for this sport class. It's time to give some results in third place with a combined score of 453 feet. Give it up for Chris Serrani. Nice flying. In second place with a combined score of 325 feet. Give it up for Jeff Vallon. And in first place with a combined score of 192 feet, it's Joel Milloway. Joel, so good to see you. How are the conditions out there today?
The air is not very nice. It's kind of icky, actually. I wasn't getting that aggressive, but it was fun and held in there and pulled off a win.
Great job out there. Everyone, again, the sport class for Oregon Trail STOL. Next up, you guys see that giant turban crazy thing flying around? This is the guy. This is the guy right here. With a combined score in exhibition class of 862 feet and a thing that weighs like 1,000,000 pounds. You can put that on Wikipedia, it'll stick. Give it up for Dell Coller. Dell, talk to us about why.
Well, you know, I had a stock one of these airplanes, a Brouse, and it was great with the 450 horsepower engine, but some days in the mountains up high it was a little underpowered, so decided to fix that.
And then you decided to fix it, what, like ×2, basically?
A little more.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, that was really fun to watch. That was really fun to watch. All right, let's hear for exhibition and sport classes, Oregon Trail STOL. Uh-oh. I wonder if they're just mad at you. I'm not staying by you. Oh, they're going for the crowd. We'll be back with the adventure and the unlimited class after this.
My name is Brian Stack. I'm from Mineola, Texas. This is my 2020 Legend MOAC.
Box 1, go.
You know, at the time, I had no idea what I was building. Went and talked to Darren and Randy at Legend Aircraft, and, you know, I just built an airplane that we could go fly in.
And those MOACs make it challenging, don't they?
Oh, man, them are some beautiful birds, and pilots are good. You know, it's competition.
He calls this airplane, not only does he call it Pepper, he also says it's part of the wolf pack. You can tell why he says that beautiful wolf on the front.
For STOL, it's hard to beat a Super Cub. It's called a Lycoming 0290. It's only 125 horsepower. Being as lightweight as it does, it seems to compete pretty good, especially in the STOL stuff compared to the bigger guys.
Now,
here
Brian
comes Brian.
Shirley with a
scratch
for Brian Shirley.
Now I kind of had time to regroup myself because it does kind of get in your mind a little bit that you got off your routine a little bit, and I was off my routine today altogether. Brand new airplane, just got it done. I've had it in the mountains at my home airport up there is at 8,000. I've had it at Leadville, which is 10,000. Where I'm actually from is Dodge City, Kansas, and I've had it there is 2,600. So yeah, I've had all over the country. It's performing well.
And we are back at Oregon Trail STOL, National STOL, Ontario, Oregon. We've got Joe Milloway giving us a burnout in the middle of the runway. Here's your sport class standings. We've got first place Joel Milloway with a combined total of 192 feet. Second place Jeff Vallon with a combined total of 325 feet. And in third place, to round out that sport class, Chris Serrani with a combined total of 453 feet. Next up, we have the adventure class with Joe Dory, race number 53 in the 2006 Piper Pacer from Star, Indiana. Jody Card, race number 92 in the 2022 Badlands Traveler from Casper, Wyoming. Ryan Melendez, race number 22 in the 1954 Super Cub PA18. And to round out the class, we got Tim Shellhorn, race number 17 in the 2021 Carbon Cub EX from Nampa, Idaho.
So this class in the adventure class is it is a cool one, right? We're starting to get even more high performance, even more aggressive flying. You're going to see some crazy stuff in Tim Shellhorn's plane. This adventure class are experimental aircraft, 1321 to 2,300 pounds. You see some really, really cool stuff happening in front of you now. And you've got some big names. You got some big names and some new names all competing together at the same time.
Yeah, as we see.
First up, you've got race number 53, an experimental Piper Pacer from Star, Idaho. Everyone give it up for Joe Dory.
Joe Dory's rocking 180 horsepower in that Pacer. It may look standard, but I have a sneaking suspicion that aircraft is pretty modded out.
Extremely modified is what it says here in the database, whatever that means. Next up, it's race number 92 from Casper, Wyoming. Give it up for a 2022 Badlands Traveler piloted by Jody Card.
Jody is a 56-year-old private pilot. He's had a couple of years of flying experience and loves exploring by air.
Next up, all the way from San Diego, California, it's race number 222, a 1954 Piper Super Cub flown by Ryan Melendez.
Ryan calls himself a full-time airport bum, part-time airline pilot. I like that. And he began his aviation journey nearly 10 years ago at the age of 17.
Next up, from Nampa, Idaho, just down the road, race number 173, a 2021 Carbon Cub EX2, Tim Shellhorn.
Tim has been in aviation his whole life. He's a second-generation pilot, with his middle son now continuing the legacy as a third-generation pilot.
Tim's got some surprises up his sleeve in his airplane. We'll wait to see them pop out. It's a little bit of a hint if you weren't watching practice yesterday. We got Joe Dory on the line. You might recognize that Dory name. What's going on with Jody Card over there? All right, know. Joe Dory on the roll. 53. And he's setting the standard for the adventure class. You might recognize that Dory name. His dad, Pops Dory.
Yes, sir.
Jody Card now in the Badlands Traveler. Look at that! Nearly sub 100 feet for Jody Card in the BLT. Next up, Ryan Melendez in a classic. It's classic. It's brand new in Jody Card against the classic Super Cub. Ryan Melendez mowing the lawn a little bit, taking it up. And he is on a
bit of left wing drop. He's got to correct that. Put a little boot in, as they say.
In this nearly no-win situation.
And I got to wonder, Cam, how much these conditions are affecting people. We still have the nil wind situation, but we're also the sun is happening.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit intense.
Tim Shellhorn yanking, and it's off. He pulled back pretty aggressively there. It seemed like it wasn't quite ready to fly, but then basically just clawed its way into the sky under horsepower.
Yeah. So the wind right now is out of the 060 at 4 knots. It's currently 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Altimeter 298. 28% humidity, and the density altitude is 4,268.
Here's Joe Dory.
Very nice and smooth over the line.
Round of applause from the crowd
Yeah.
for Joe Dory on that one. Definitely part of one of the more influential STOL families you'll see. Let's go to the replay there, watching that thing come in. Gave up about a plane and a half of distance over the line.
.213 feet on that landing. Combined total 441 feet for Joe Dory.
Jody Card hanging it out.
Oh,
too
man.
short. We're talking about scores here, and I look over and I see Jody Card with that tail hanging all the way down. That's what that big angle of attack approach can do. You got those slats on the front of that thing, helping you keep that thing in the air. Woo! I'm sitting here looking at Josh Richling, the crew chief for Steve Henry, and he's watching that airplane because it's going to be fighting Steve Henry in the next heat. Here comes Ryan Melendez. Good over the line, checker flags being waved. He's got to get heavy on those brakes, maybe a little bit heavier. But he's still stopping really short.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd rather see someone be less aggressive with the brakes and be landing short than being too aggressive and landing on their nose.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
And that looks like a scratch just came in for Ryan Melendez after review. And here, look at that's the surprise. And he just sucks it back in. Tim Shellhorn trying to keep it straight, rolling out real short.
Oh, yes.
That panel, that belly panel on his aircraft is not just an air brake. It actually provides some lift. It's a lifting body, just like the flaps. So it allows him to get even slower, which means he's got even less energy to dissipate when he comes over the line.
It's almost like having the belly pod, but belly pod plus because it's retractable.
Right, so you can keep it retracted on takeoff, right? Because the amount of, I'm imagining the amount of drag it introduces is too much to overcome on takeoff to be beneficial.
Yeah.
But on landing, when you're able to modulate all that power, and Tim Shellhorn's plane has boatloads of power. If you look at the modification list, it's almost all of it is about the engine and the engine tuning. It's not about that little surprise he likes to pop out every once in a while out of the belly. So highly modified, and he's able to really work that power to his advantage. Someone in the chat here, Ty Watkins says, if Goldie doesn't win, I riot. The stakes are high for Ryan Melendez, I guess. Also, Matt Gilardo says, go Ryan. Another one for Ryan Melendez there. Joe Dory now pulling that pacer off the ground. And such a different, I mean, look at the eras of aircraft design you have here. You've got a pacer, obviously an old design that's been updated and modified by Joe Dory, but now you've got like hot off the presses, the BLT.
Yep.
Whoa! Yes! That he held it off just an inch over the grass, Cam?
I mean, there was barely any daylight over that grass.
It was over it, though, and he didn't settle back down, so he was able to make it work. That was an 88-foot takeoff from Jody Card. Brian Melendez now pulling just a tiny bit too early, but he's off short as well. We'll have to see if Ty Watkins is going to riot or not. Tim Shellhorn currently in first place. Combined score of 237 on the first run. I wasn't expecting it to float off just like that. That was short. So what are we going to see? His first takeoff was 100 feet.
Yeah, that's looking really close to 75 feet. Maybe just a little bit over.
Well, they come around. Oh, Joe Dory's already back.
79 feet on that.
79 feet for Tim Shellhorn's takeoff. Here's Joe Dory, 206 on his takeoff. Settling it in real nice. Keeping that tail nice and low. Jody Card off in the distance. While he comes in, I want to talk about another aircraft that competes in this class. It's one of our annual sponsors, the Legend Cub. The Legend Cub continues to be the most coveted American manufactured sport aircraft. It is a modern Legend, and those who have flown one consider the Legend Cub to be the most gratifying recreational aircraft in the skies today. Big thanks to them for their support. Here comes Jody Card holding it off on power. So much power. Wow, what are we seeing?
Let's go.
That's like near vertical. He's like balancing it all on thrust. That is incredible. He's going to pair that with an 88-foot takeoff. Let's go to the replay. Plopped it down just after the line. So he's going to pop up into first with 216 combined. That's incredible.
Yeah. The airplane knows nothing but just how to perform well.
Here comes Ryan. Good over the line as well. Heavy on the binders. I got to wonder, every time I see Super Cub, it's like, is that thing rocking heel brakes or toe brakes?
Ooh, yeah.
So, folks, the brakes in the old Cub types, they used to be activated with your heels instead of your toes. So you'd be using your toes on the rudder pedals, but trying to somehow brake with your heels. In the J3 Cub, it's not going very fast. You just kind of don't worry about the brakes. Tim Shellhorn coming in well early, gonna plop it up. Oh, keep it controlled there, buddy. Okay.
All right.
So I believe he touched well before the line.
Okay.
I feel like I saw tires touch down there. Line judge appears to have missed that, or maybe it didn't happen. We'll have to go to the replay. But he did kind of YOLO it in afterwards.
Yep.
Going to the instant replay. Yeah, touching down there. You can see the wheels and the tires compressing. Little throttle got him back over the line, and it was right on the line. And now he's getting it all straightened out. Let's go to the pits with Ash.
I'm Ash down here in the pit with our winner of our sport class, Joel Millway. Joe, we were talking a little bit yesterday about how good this E-Prop does in the heat. It's hot again today. Tell us how it was feeling out there.
Well, yeah, it was really hot again today, even hotter. The plane was struggling a little bit, but the prop kept pulling hard. I'm just super happy with it. It sure likes the heat. I was just being a little cautious with it because I don't want to get it in the ground and break it because I like it so much. So, but it works great.
Well, it's good enough to get you on the podium when we were super psyched to see you there and loved your little smoke out on the way out. Always fun to see little additive like that. And we'll go ahead and throw it back to the booth for our next round of takeoffs.
Joe Dory now hanging on the line. waiting for the air bosses to release him. Really interesting to hear the interview with Ash and Joel. You wouldn't expect Joel Milloway to say, I don't want to, like he's like, I don't want to break that prop. Like, I like it so much. He's a pretty aggressive competitor. Here comes Joe Dory. Short wing Piper is giving you less lift off the factory line than a normal Super Cub.
Yep.
Looks like Joe's done a little bit of work to add some of that lift back. Here's Jody Card now.
Yeah.
Our current leader. Oh, man. Watching the wave dump those flaps down. You pop those flaps down, you get a big burst of, well, you get drag. But in the takeoff regime, you're also getting a bunch of lift, right? If you can actuate them hard enough, they're going to give you a little burst of lift to get you up off the ground into ground effects. You can accelerate to full flying speed. Here's Ryan Melendez now. Tail up. Pulling a little early. He's currently holding on to 4th place with a combined score of 469. Tim Shellhorn with that amazing 79-foot takeoff, tragically paired with that early touchdown scratch in the second run. Full throttle, going hard. Didn't even raise the tail. Just used brute force. All the horses.
All of them. All the little horsies in the stable.
Joe Dory, base to final, to your left. In the pacer.
Flaps down, great descent rate. It's going to use that ground effect. Just hold it off to over the line. Gives up a plane length or so. But he's going to get it stopped short. Just under 275 feet. We'll see what that number officially is in just a moment. 272 feet on that. These are just mind-boggling numbers. Like, relatively, like, compared to each other, like, yeah, there's a competition happening. But, I mean, like, just in real-world, actual scenario numbers, like, this is short.
Here comes Jody Card. Listen to how he works that throttle. Oh, man.
All right.
That tail wheel can touch before the line. That is no problem. Let's go to the replay again. Watch him just hang it all out. Tail wheel comes down right there. Let's see if it hits the line or not. Oh. They are going to call that a scratch for Jody Card. So 1 out of 3 is good enough for him to be holding on first place. Here comes Ryan Melendez in that Super Cub.
Good over the line. Getting it stopped real short.
Right around the 225 mark. So textbook. So textbook on that one. That, Ryan, if you've got an instructor still, I doubt he does because he's a airline pilot. But show that to your Czech airman next time you go and be like,
seriously.
Look, I don't know what you need to see for the airlines, but I'd just like to point out that I did this in a Super Cub. Okay. Now, Tim Shellhorn, 83-foot takeoff. The belly plate comes down, holding it off over the line. Brakes are completely locked up. And look how short that was. That might be enough.
Yeah.
That might be enough to switch the order around. Well, they taxi around to complete the class. Let's talk about our friends at Red Tag Art. Featuring innovative and handcrafted art and home goods from Red Tag aircraft parts. Everything from bottle openers to bottle openers made from valve covers and turbine coffee tables and everything in between. You can check them out at redtagart.com. We also need to talk about our friends over at iFly EFB. They're the most complete EFB app for Android, iOS, and Windows. All 3 of them. The iFly EFB team brings together the perfect balance of technology and real-world flight experience. They are offering prize considerations for our pilots as well. That was intense. Things moved around a bunch, and I'm not going to spoil how it ended. The audience will have to wait in suspense just like everybody else will.
I like that.
Just like the pilots. So let's take a quick break. We'll be back with the results of the adventure class right after a word from our sponsors.
Looking for a more affordable entry into bush plane flying? How about paramotoring, aka the dirt bike of the sky? Paramotoring STOL is the next best thing, and this adventure motor that you wear on your back is your ticket to getting airborne quick. At Aviator Paramotor, our 2-week training takes you from zero to hero.
Sunrise this morning, it was beautiful. There was a thin layer of fog flying. It's just like all the stress and all that kind of just floats away. It's really peaceful.
From no experience to feeling confident and competent flying on your own. Let the team at Aviator Paramotor in Lake Wales, Florida teach you your new superpower of running into the sky. Classes are filling up quick, but there are spots available today, so call now. Side effects include, but not limited to, significant flight changes, foot drags, ear-to-ear smiles. Find the extreme freedoms of ripping around the skies in your new adventure motor with friends.
And we are back here in Ontario, Oregon. We're almost through a full, crazy packed day of STOL flying, and right after we wrap up the adventure class, you can see the unlimited class waiting in the wings to show you some truly incredible performance. Let's give it up for our adventure class competitors standing right in front of me, folks. This one was close. Second and first place separated by only 2 feet. Whoa, right? That's pretty crazy. In fourth place, with a combined score of 441 feet, Joe Dory. In third place, with a combined score of 413 feet, don't get wet, Ryan Melendez. Up on up. Now it's close here. This is that 2-foot separation. Right at the end, it was decided with a combined score of 216. Second place goes to Jody Card. And with 214 feet combined, give it up for Tim Shellhorn.
The old man step right there.
Wait, wait. Oh, they're already talking smack here on the podium. What'd you just say?
They got the old man step right here.
Oh, the little extra step for him. He didn't even use it, though. He just stepped right up.
Man.
Yeah, oh, I guess. Good save. Tim, talk to us about how the air felt today.
It's warm and a little squirrely. That's my thoughts. But other than that, it was awesome. The competition was awesome. These guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. And thanks, everybody, for coming out and during the heat. This is great.
Absolutely great photo finish. Let's give it up again for the adventure class of Oregon Trail STOL 2025. Oh, wait, what's this? Hey, what's your name?
Declan James Krista.
And wait, what's today?
May 31st.
But is it your birthday?
Yes.
How old are you today?
8.
8. Would it be okay if we sung happy birthday to you?
Yes.
All right, everybody, you heard him. I need the whole crowd. I can't do this. All right, I can do it, but not by myself. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Declan. Happy birthday to you. Nice job, everybody. Happy birthday, buddy. They're just tagging him with these squirt guns. We'll be right back with some unlimited class action here in Ontario, Oregon, right after this.
Out. One way or another, we're going to stop it, even if it's sideways. It's so fun. I got to fly the unlimited. You can't beat it.
He pushes me and I push him, and same with Hal. We're challenging each other. Everyone's like, whoa, this is going to be close.
I have beat him, but not often. I got to be really on my game, and he's got to be off his a little bit.
The hard work happens with the majority of what Steve does before we get here. It's the innovations, the development of the new parts, testing them, all that. And a lot of that has to do with what Steve does before we get here.
Really excited. I just hung my weights and got everything ready for traditional STOL, and I'm just excited to get going.
I usually fly a Highlander, but I sold it. I'm rebuilding a new one that's going to be pretty competitive at both National STOL and STOL Drag, so I'm excited about that, but it ain't ready yet.
I fly my Rands off a grass strip in airport about 15 minutes from my house. Rick and Colin Kaniva, both really good friends of mine. Colin has a place with a strip behind his house. I've flown in and out of there.
Patrick and I, we got a little bit of a grudge match going.
Come on, get it stopped, Charles. Get it stopped, Charles. No!
You know, had to let it all hang out. One way or another, we're going to stop it, even if it's sideways. It's so fun. I got to fly the unlimited. You can't beat it.
And we are back in Ontario, Oregon, Oregon Trail STOL. We'll have your results for your adventure class. In first place, Mr. Tim Shellhorn with a combined total of 214 feet. In second place, Jody Card with a combined total of 216 feet. In third place, Ryan Melendez with a combined total of 413 feet. And round out the class, in fourth place, Mr. Joe Dory with a combined total of 441 feet. Up next is the unlimited class. Starting off with Hal Stockman, race number 3 in the 2025 Badlands Vaquero, from Elko, Nevada. Jared Garetson, number 60 in a 2021 Badlands Traveler from Manhattan, Kansas. Steve Henry in race number 44 in the 2022 Wild West Just Highlander XL from Nampa, Idaho. And Mr. Dan Reynolds, race number 9 in the Chinook Valdez Special from Dawson City, Canada. This is about to be extremely exciting, sir.
I mean, I don't know if people realize it is incredibly rare that you would have Hal Stockman, Steve Henry, and Dan Reynolds all in the same place. So that just, job one.
Yeah, by itself.
That by itself is incredibly rare and very exciting. I think they were all wishing for a little more wind today.
Yeah.
That would help and make it even more exciting. Then, we talked about this yesterday, Jared Garetson keeps borrowing people's planes and then winning with them. We saw him win 2 different classes at Pony Express, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he's coming out to play. And what was really interesting is I ran into him this morning, and I was kind of goofing with him, and I was like, oh, man, like, you know, we were talking about your practice a lot on the stream, and he said, you know, Ryan, the big thing for me is 4 or 5 years ago, I was sitting in my office watching videos of these guys, these legends of aviation, the ones that are taxiing in front of you right now here in Ontario. He's like, I was watching them, and I have so much respect for them. And I shared with him, Dan Reynolds, sitting here in front of us, saying a lot of respect for the flying that Jared does. You know, he's a real good stick, is what he said. So really exciting to see. Let's get this gaggle of unlimited geese introduced to you folks now. Right in front of you there, making his return to the 2024 season. He showed up at Pony Express. He's back again now. From Elko, Nevada, race number 3 is the 2024 Badlands Vaquero, piloted by none other than Hal Stockman.
This is a rebuild of Lawnmower 4.1. Tail is from the original aircraft, which was recovered. And we have a canard now.
Yeah, we have a canard on the front. Next up, from Manhattan, Kansas, race number 603, a 2022 Badlands Traveler. Give it up for Jared Garetson.
Jared is in his second year of competition on the National STOL circuit. He buys, sells, trades, and builds experimental backcountry airplanes.
From Nampa, Idaho, it's his hometown show, race number 44, 2022 Just Aircraft Wild West Aircraft Highlander XL. Give it up for Steve Henry.
Steve Henry has built Just Highland aircraft for many years. His aviation journey began in 2005 when he built his first Highlander and filmed the iconic deck stick takeoff.
And from Dawson, Canada, race number 9, a 1983 Chinook Valdez Special. Give it up for Dan Reynolds.
Dan is a lifelong bush pilot with experience flying Super Cubs and Cessna 185s. This aircraft is a highly modified 1983 Chinook WT-11.
And if you look at these 4 airplanes, boy, do you have variations on a theme. How do you get an aircraft into the air as quick as possible? You've got people with teams of people behind them building aircraft that all address the lift problem differently, right? You've got Hal Stockman up in front. He's like, I don't want to put counterweights in the tail. I want to put more lift on the nose. Here's some canards. Then you've got Jared Garetson in the other Badlands, the more classic Badlands Traveler. I don't know if you can call it classic. Badlands Travelers, with this wing in particular, it's a very new addition to the series.
Yeah.
We're going to solve it with this different wing shape and all this power. And you got Steve Henry, who's like, I'm going to go super light, even lighter than Hal. Wait, are they? No. Don't quote me on that. I don't have the empty weight for Hal's airplane. Anyway, Steve's like, I'm going to do a 300 horsepower fire-breathing Yamaha Sidewinder engine. And then Dan Reynolds in the back is like, I only need a Rotax 670 and a wing that can generate a ton of lift. So it's just everyone addressing that problem as aggressively as they can with innovation. And then once you have the innovation, you have to back it up with the piloting. Because even Steve Henry will scratch once in a while.
Yeah, it happens. Sometimes it'll happen a few times in a row.
Green flag for the unlimited class here at Oregon Trail STOL 2025. Hal Stockman working those canards. He's up and away.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the judges are all ganged up around the 50-foot mark.
Jared Garetson and Jody Card's aircraft now taxiing up to the line. One correction from practice yesterday, they've talked to him a little bit about how far he can cheat out to the edges of the runway. He's going full throttle. Hanging it on the edge there, but it's up and away.
Yeah, judging by the flags, it looks like we have like a left quartering tailwind at the moment.
at least a full left crosswind, if not that tailwind.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in that zone. Steve Henry now, race number 44. I don't even.
I can't even.
His whole family just waving at him. Hi, Steve, as he flies by. But, like, I've seen that hundreds of times over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Still not used to it.
Never gets old.
Dan Reynolds, the Canadian.
Get full throttle from him. We'll see that
Spooling it up.
tail come up in just a moment. Or
And
not.
Look how short that was for him. And I think the wind cut out on him a little bit compared to what Steve had. Look at these numbers now, folks. Hal Stockman's takeoff, 55 feet. That's almost shorter than an F-14 Tomcat is nose to tail. Jared Garetson, 94 feet. Steve Henry, 52 feet. Hal Stockman's new plane, and Hal at the controls, only 3 feet behind him on takeoff. Dan Reynolds, 93 feet. We are all for sub 100-foot takeoffs in
Looks like-
near nil wind, super hot conditions. Here's Hal Stockman now settling in, getting that tail nice and low. Good over the line. Stopping it right around the 125 mark.
Looks like we had a correction on Steve Henry's number. It's now 47 feet.
Oh, Steve down to 47 thanks to some video double checking at the judges. You can see the judges in the blue vests. They record video and cross-check the numbers, so dialing that down for Steve Henry now. Jared Garetson on final approach. He likes to hang it on the prop and then just kind of cut it, chop, pop, and drop. Here he goes. Boom, exactly.
Ooh,
Now he's got to
yes.
get it stopped.
Yeah.
Jared.
That's how you do it right there.
So the thing that Jared is going to have to do if he wants to compete with these folks that he looks up to is he's going to have to shorten that takeoff distance.
Yes.
To really be competitive. He stopped shorter than Hal Stockman did, but his takeoff was nearly double of what Hal Stockman had. Steve Henry, low and to your left. Working that horsepower, good over the line, digging
yes.
in. Those knobby tires. Sub 100 feet for Steve Henry.
Yeah, this turf has to be excellent for those knobby tires, especially with the conditions of the grass being a little wet, being a little soft too.
Giving him lots of purchase.
Yes.
Dan Reynolds is doing his textbook helicopter impression. We've seen this airplane with a little wind on the nose land shorter than it is long. He had a 10-foot landing at Swamp STOL 2 years ago. Settling in now, working that throttle, diving it in. As the nickname Lawn Dart Dan in some circles, because he can do that if he wants.
Sub 100 on that landing.
So again, you see the different style, the different approach paying off for everyone in different ways. No one is sub 100 foot combined, but right now, Steve Henry in first with 142 feet combined. Hal Stockman in the silver position, 149 feet combined. Dan Reynolds just a few feet back from him with 191, and Jared Garetson 205. Jared actually put up, out of all four of these pilots, yesterday during practice, he put up the shortest combined score. And be sure to give him a round of applause as they taxi by you folks.
This is the cream of the crop.
This is for all the beans.
All the marbles, all the potatoes. Okay. Hal Stockman getting all the lift he can out of that thing. Working the flaps, and again, he's got those canards on the front to give him a little extra lift on the front end of the plane to help give him a better angle of attack by lowering the tail. It's all about a balance of forces. Hashtag physics. Jared Garetson now, he's slid to the right as far as he's allowed. He's within those brackets. These are new for this season. Cannot go all the way to the edge. Yanking it off!
Yeah.
Not quite as short as the last one. Last one was 94 feet. This one's going to be closer to 100, I believe. Hal Stockman's takeoff nearly double at 105.
Steve Henry on the line.
That may be sub 50 feet again. That may be even shorter. He was 47 feet on the first run.
It's just incredibly insane.
Dan Reynolds taxiing up to the line. Listen to the engine. You're going to hear one tone, one pitch, and then you're going to hear one more pitch, a higher pitch, as he activates a little shot of nitrous in there. Nice floating off there for Dan Reynolds. Was just competing in Valdez, the granddaddy of all the STOL competitions. He was up there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, got the shortest landing, shortest takeoff, and won his class.
Here comes Hal Stockman. Flaps, those controls on the inside of the airplane's wing. Drop down, generating lift. Generating drag. The canards doing work for him now too. Lift on the nose of the airplane, helping him get that tail low. Settling it down now. Little burst of power.
Ooh, yes. Good over the line.
Over the line.
As a formidable looking aircraft with the cowling removed.
Going frame by frame here in the replay. They're going to continue to call that one good in the booth. Hal Stockman improving his score down to 203. Jared Garetson making sure we all know what the belly of that BLT looks like. Look at him balancing it on the prop, balancing it on the power.
Yeah,
it is hanging all out there.
Oh, yes.
Right on the line. Get it stopped, Jared. Holy moly. I don't know if he's going to be the shortest today, but the style points are through the roof.
There is excitement
Garetson right now. So we had a slightly longer takeoff, 10 feet longer for Jared Garetson. 94-foot landing. That's going to put him at 198, so he's going to hang on to third place. Steve Henry, fire-breathing Sidewinder on the front. Look at how Steve's plane absorbs the ground. It is Velcroed. It just lands and it's boop, it's sticking. It's not moving. Steve had a 41-foot, it's hard to say, it's so insane, a 41-foot takeoff, a longer landing this time. He went from 95 feet to 108, so his 142 from the first run is still going to maintain. Dan Reynolds currently in second place with 191, just 7 feet in front of Jared Garetson. Everyone's dialing it in. He's high, settling.
Ooh,
vertically
yeah.
touching down. What was that? That was insane.
The crowd is going wild.
The crowd goes wild. That
Yes.
was insane. With a capital I, Dan Reynolds. A 38-foot landing.
Oh,
What?
jeez.
That's going to put Dan Reynolds up into first place with 120 feet. Ah, what is happening? Unlimited class. We don't need wind to play. While they're taxing back, I got to mention, I don't even know I can calm down enough to do it. We're going to talk about Steve. On the back of Steve's plane there, you can see the Tundra tailwheel. If you're fed up with tailwheel shimmy, join the ranks of countless STOL champions who trust the Tundra tailwheels. Products are now compatible with Leaf Spring, T3, Acme Aero, and TK1 suspensions. TundraTailwheel.com. Go learn more about it there. Gosh. Oh. Be still, my beating heart. What is happening here? Let's also talk about our friends at Behringer. Behringer Aero has been manufacturing wheels and brakes in the same spirit of quality and performance for 30 years. You might know them as the signature red wheels and brakes on aircraft, but they come in other colors as well. Thank you to Behringer for their support, helping National STOL stay possible. Hal Stockman winding it up. Digging it. Oh, nice for Hal Stockman. Was he sub 100?
Those canards coming into play on the Badlands Vaquero.
Folks, don't forget it's your last chance to vote for fan favorite. NationalStol.com/vote. NationalStol.com/vote. Here's Jared Garetson in the BLT. Nice!
Oh.
You can see he applied those flaps so aggressively with the pull. Got him right off the ground. It popped right off. Perfectly timed for Jared Garetson. Hal Stockman just clocked in, by the way, his shortest takeoff of the day, 87 feet. That helps keep him in the running for a podium. Also, not to be outdone, Jared Garetson, 91-foot takeoff. Here comes Steve Henry. They're not even looking. Everyone's just going right to the video. That one, I think, will be the shortest of the day for him as well. We have a tiny bit of wind, 38 feet.
Yeah,
that's... What? So Steve Henry takes off in 38 feet, and Dan Reynolds lands in 38 feet. So the takeoff numbers all shrinking. Dan's hoping for a knot of wind on the nose. Can he get it? The more wind, the better. Getting that tail up, getting the tail. He did get it. That's going to help him a lot. He is going to have his shortest takeoff of the competition, I believe.
Yeah,
the clash of the Titans. Sorry, Cam.
No.
I'm super pumped. Yes, 75 feet.
There we go.
For Dan Reynolds on the takeoff. Everyone is at their best takeoff number. I'm freaking out.
The excitement is not about to end. We have to see these landings.
I'm gonna pass out. Okay, here comes Hal Stockman. Floating it in. Get as much energy down. Yes.
Oh.
Good over the line and stopped. Sub 100 feet for Hal Stockman.
"91 feet on that landing.
Hal Stockman now in third place with 178 feet, but will it hold? Jared Garetson looking to do the high angle attack, chop, plop, and drop attack like he was doing all day yesterday in practice. Look at him hanging on that prop, hanging it on the prop. It's descending.
There we go.
Good over the line. No problem on the tail wheel, touching down first. Let's go to the replay.
That's going to be his shortest landing as well.
He has that thing dialed in. He's now back up into third with 171. It's all down to this. Steve Henry, Dan Reynolds. Steve Henry currently in second place with 142. Oh, calling it good.
Calling it good.
Sub 100 feet with a 38-foot takeoff. Let's go to the replay. Oh, we may have a judge's challenge on that. And it was called a scratch in the booth. A scratch for Steve Henry, which is going to seal it up for Dan Reynolds. By about half a length of a tire. It was that close for Steve Henry.
Oh.
Dan Reynolds now coming in. Working it. Oh, right on the line as well. Look at that. Oh, I don't think it was as short as the second run. Good over the line for Dan Reynolds on the replay. They're calling it just, 54 feet on that one. So his second run will be his best. Oof. That is going to conclude the competition side of the Unlimited class. We're going to that replay again with Steve, frame by frame, and you can see right there on that frame. Race Control is correcting me. They're like, it's actually all three of these frames. You can see the tire compressing under the weight of the aircraft on that scratch, on that final run for Steve Henry. And here are the results for the Unlimited class.
In first place, Dan Reynolds with a combined total of 120 feet. Second place, Steve Henry, combined total of 142 feet. Third place, Jared Garetson with a combined total of 171 feet. And to round out the Unlimited class, fourth place, Hal Stockman, 178 feet.
Oh, that was a total barn burner. We will wrap this up in just a second. Stay tuned for the exciting conclusion of Oregon Trail STOL 2025 right after this.
And welcome back to Ontario, Oregon. What a... that is a way to end a competition, right? Let's give it up for these unlimited class competitors right behind me. That was intense. I think everyone was in first place at some point. Let's talk about the full scores here. First, I want to point out, between fourth and third place, they were separated by 7 feet. It's really close. In fourth place, with a combined score of 178 feet, round of applause for Hal Stockman. In third place, with a combined score of 171 feet, give it up for Jared Garetson. In second place, with a combined score of 142 feet, give it up for Steve Henry. And in first place, he's shocked back there with a combined score of 120 feet, Dan Reynolds.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Dan, I think what it all came down for you was there was that landing that was as short as Steve's shortest takeoff. You had a 38-foot landing. Yeah, everyone's like, what just happened? Talk to me. That was, I don't know which run it was. I think it was your second run.
Second run, I come in there on the line, and the wind was calm, and I could just parachute that thing right on. I just went in parachute mode about 5-6 feet up and just boom. I love it when I can do that.
Oh, we love it when you can do that too. All right, give it up for the unlimited class, everybody. They're going to get their nice photo first. Folks, what a way to end our great time we've had here in Ontario, Oregon. We can't thank you enough in the crowd for sticking with us all day. Oh, I'm getting friendly fire, blue on blue. Okay, while they're duking it out, I want to say thanks to a bunch of people. First, thanks to my friend in the booth, Cam Walton. Thanks to Jughead Council for joining us on the mic. Ash Krieger for coming out and doing the sideline reporting. Also, our air bosses on top of the booth up there. Our air bosses keeping everyone safe. All the volunteers and the production crew that made this possible, thank you. And again, thank you to the city of Ontario, Oregon for being so great to us. We can't wait to be back, and we can't wait to see you in Moses Lake, Washington in just a few weeks for Moses Lake STOL. Thanks so much, everybody. It has been an intense, hot day, but we can't wait to do it again. We'll see you next time. A special thanks to our local sponsors. EAA Chapter 837, Big Bite Inc., Ragwood Refactory, D.L. Evans Bank, Fighting Classics Air Museum, Grocery Outlet, Intermountain Law, LPL Financial, Mad River LLC, Midfield Aviation LLC, Porta Pros, Seafair Pacific, Fairchilds by Golden Valley Vinegar, Edge Performance Sports, Firkin Air LLC, and Sucker Creek Construction.